All right. Good morning, ladies. Thank you all for being here. We are going live right now. We have our events in Philadelphia coming up today. These are the last two stops of this nationwide tour. I am with my co-host, Kay Yang. Kay Yang, do you want to start us off with our amazing promo for this show? And then we will be back in the chat with you, ladies.
There we go. Okay, everything's muted. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is the last time you will be seeing Amy, Sousa, and myself in this capacity. Tomorrow, you will be seeing us on the ground, and we will see you in just a minute after the intro. Women say no way. This is Kay Yang, and you're watching the Let Women Speak Speakers Corner USA Tour featuring Kelly J. Keane of Standing for Women UK.
If you would like to assist us in making this documentary, which is not about a few people sat down having long interviews, it's about real women doing things to try and stop the erasure of their rights and the mutilation of children's bodies. It's about the ordinary women that became activists through this, there's lots of stories to tell, and I'm happy for all of them to be told, but the story that we're going to tell here in our documentary is the story of ordinary women doing extraordinary things when they were pushed to extraordinary depths with this.
I want to thank all of the women who have been organizing. Obviously, a big thank you to Kelly J. Keane. This is for her documentary that she is doing across the United States. These are all of the dates that are coming. If you can make it to one of these cities, please do your best to get there. This is an opportunity for all U.S. women to share their voices. This is a chance for us to really revitalize and give a strong foundation to the activism that we have already been doing.
If you're in the USA, it is really easy to give towards this documentary to make your American women's voices heard, as well as those in the UK and Europe. This little bit of history and uprising belongs to the brave women and girls who were standing up against this absolute tyranny.
This is about safety for women and girls. This is about defending children, and this is about future generations. We know that this is all leading towards transhumanism. This is leading towards a world of tighter top-down control and control of women in our reproductive systems and our biology. And we will continue to speak out against it. We will continue to name these things, and we will continue organizing across all of our political differences for our goals. For more videos from me, subscribe to my channel, The Deprogrammer on YouTube, and subscribe here to the Known Heretic channel to join the watch party as we live stream every stop on Kelly J's tour. We'll be linking up with women on the ground in every city to bring you live interviews with your favorite fearless female warriors and highlight the voices of women across the country who are standing up against the destruction of female sex-based rights in the name of gender identity laws and ideology. Join the live chat and connect with other women. We'll take your calls and platform your voice live on the show.
This is Speaker's Corner. This is a tradition in the UK. Unlike here, we don't have a right to free speech. And you're losing yours here in this country through hate speech laws which are coming. So what we've decided to do, because women face an existential crisis and the bodies of our children through the threat of transgender ideology, we thought we'd come to the very heart of where it's being sold to Americans through your schools. Your children are being gaslit and want men in your spaces. You have to pretend that women have penises. You have to pretend that it's brave and stunning for girls in this country aged 12 to have double mastectomies. So, if you want to speak, you come and speak. Speak really nice and loudly into this microphone so everybody can hear you. If not you, then who? If not now, then when?
Okay, welcome. Hello, women in Australia, Tasmania, Canada, the UK, and all across the world. Let us know in the chat where you're listening from.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. This has been such an incredible tour thus far, and I really appreciate everyone being with myself and Kay Yang for these watch parties. It is so much fun. It's so much more fun to be watching these and participating all together. We have really wanted this space to be a place where all women can have a voice, where all women can participate in the conversation and have free speech. I want to remind everyone of all of the amazing cities that we have been to thus far. We have been to Los Angeles, San Francisco. We still covered Portland. We went to Tacoma and Austin and Chicago and Loudoun County. We went to Miami. We went to DC, and today we are in Philadelphia. And I hope you will join us as well tomorrow, because tomorrow is the last stop on this nationwide USA Let Women Speak tour. And we will be in New York City tomorrow. Kay Yang and I will be on the ground. I am not in my home right now. I'm in a beautiful venue in New York City, where I am sitting in this lovely little office and workshop space. And I am getting ready to be with you on the ground, covering the events from the ground tomorrow in New York City.
Yes, and we did not forget Miami. Well, maybe just for a moment on the list, but
I said Miami.
Well, I just saw VF55 say and Miami, so I just wanted to make sure we hit on Miami.
We'll just give
we'll
Miami
never
an
forget
extra
all you women down there. Miami was awesome. Miami was so cool. And then we also had Alex Pinwheeler come on the show the following day and give an update. She was on the show with Kelly Kay from Rad Femmes United. So that was really awesome to have both of them giving a report back from the ground, talking about their work and the angles that they take on this issue. As Amy said, we've just been so, honestly, I've been just so delighted to be able to meet with so many different women around this tour and connecting with women in different cities and meeting new people that I only had like a avatar for before. And now I have names, faces. It's really cool, all the connections that have been built through this and all the different women that have been special guests on the show and called in to the show during the call-in sessions. That's been really awesome too. I just want to give shout outs in the comments. I've already said Pinwheel, Yvette, VF555, Belle LaCroix, Celeste is in the house, Firehorse, Claudia, T-Bay is here. Who else did I see is in the chat? Eleanor, Lola Ma.
Mail. I don't know if you saw her. She was waiting even before we began. She was here.
And now you're using that one instead of Aquamarina now, right? I think that's both you. I'm learning.
Well, I want to I was going to say, as we're waiting to have a special guest today. Oh, and Amina's here, and I believe we may see her, more of her in person. We'll
There's
see.
Jessica Gonzalez, the founder of Church Collective, is in the house, and I believe she is on the ground in Philly, and we're going to be checking in with her soon at some point. I
want to give people a couple of updates. I have heard that it is a beautiful day in Philadelphia. The space has been barricaded off, so the all of the speakers will be fenced off from any potential protesters. So we expect a lot of good support from the Philly PD today. That's our expectation. Of course, that's always our expectation, and we hope to see good follow through with that. So far, we have had notice that they don't see yet any TRA or protesters at the event. Of course, they sometimes pop up at the last minute with their noisemakers and ridiculousness.
Yeah, I would honestly be shocked if we don't see opposition from trans rights activists or people calling themselves trans rights activists and Antifa today. Philly is somewhat of a hub for trans activism. If you're at all familiar with the area, it is. And then there was a speaker's corner there. But when did they do their speaker's corner in Philly? Jen Thomas, Jessica was there. Brittany, a slightly twisted female, was there. Who else was at that one?
This was, let me check. I can check in my.
Yeah, they've done a speaker's corner in Philadelphia.
Jessica was there. Kara Dansky was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were met with some opposition. I do remember some footage of somebody like banging some drum right behind Kara's head, and so yeah, August. Someone in the chat is saying August. So yeah, and that's another thing. There have been so many actions that have gone on all over the country. Even though, you know, the mainstream media acts like we don't exist. They say, oh, where are the women? Where are the feminists? Nobody's doing anything. But that's not true, as you all know, because many of you in the chat have been organizing around this issue. And many of you know Amy and I and Jen Thomas and some other women have been working on getting a big list going of all of the protests that have occurred across the country so that we can really show how much resistance we've actually built, contrary to the lies that they tell in the media where they say we don't exist. We're going to prove otherwise, and we have to make our own media. We have to document what's happening ourselves because we know no one else is documenting it, right? It's up to us to be the media, to be the historians, to be the researchers, and to be the boots on the ground, to be the mouthpiece, to be the canary in the coal mine, and to be the voice to speak up and sound the alarm for everyone, not just across America, but across the world, that gender identity ideology is being infused at a federal level and at a national level by international governing bodies with collusion from corporations and the private sector. We are sounding the alarm. Gay Chapman, thank you so much for a donation from our sister Gay Chapman. As you all know, or you should know by now, if you don't, now you do. Gay Chapman is the owner of After Ellen. It is a publication by lesbians for lesbians, and she has been vowing, and she just recently renewed her vow at the LA Speakers Corner, that she will keep After Ellen for lesbians. That is female, adult, homosexuals, by lesbians for lesbians. So thank you so much, Gay Chapman, for being a holdout and an outpost for lesbians.
We really appreciate
Amy?
you, yeah, we so appreciate you. And this is, you know, this is what we must do. We must hold our ground. We must hold our boundaries. We are in an environment where everyone is constantly encroaching on us and pushing at our boundaries and trying to get us to give, trying to get us to include, you know, one man in our lesbianism, trying to get us to include, you know, certain men in our bathrooms and spaces. And I do usually try not to get drawn into Twitter arguments with TRAs or even just men who are on our side. But I did the other day, unfortunately. But it was just very interesting to me because, you know, all I am saying is that women and girls want spaces that are free of men. We want single sex spaces designated to us. These spaces were made for our bodies, for us to have boundaries around our bodies, not just for safety, but also for issues of privacy. We have very different functions that our bodies have, and we like to have privacy for that.
That's right.
And
We want single sex spaces. We need single sex spaces. We demand single sex spaces, and we will have single sex spaces. We will.
yeah, and it's really incredible to me, the pushback of, well, if a man cut off his penis, he should be able to come in. If he is pretty enough, he should be able to come in. If, and I kept getting this argument from these couple of men who said, people would take your position a lot more seriously if basically people would take you seriously if you could be more flexible. Well, the point is, we don't need to be flexible. These are spaces for women and girls, for our bodies. We do not need to be flexible and include some men. And the fact of the matter is, we can't tell if they have cut off their penis or not. We can't tell, why they are, wearing so much makeup or a dress. There is no difference between a man in a dress and another different kind of a man in a dress. There's just none. So these spaces are for us and for our boundaries.
And we know that these spaces are under attack. Gay Chapman is saying here in the chat, I was recently approached about teaming up with a queer space. So this is active and ongoing boundary violation. This is trying to force this ideology into every single space and facet of our lives. So shout out to Gay Chapman for holding the line. Shout out to all of the women here in the chat for holding the line. I see we had Jessica Gonzalez is down on the ground. I see Kara Dansky is in the chat. Incredible women warriors that have been speaking out about this issue. Yolanda is here. I mean, women are holding the line. We're not going to take it. And this tour has really helped to show that our resistance is a lot bigger than we may have thought it was, right?
Yeah.
It's really helping for all of us to visibilize each other and see that we're not alone. We're not as small and one-off as they want us to think that we are. We are greater in numbers and we're growing every day. And this message that's being put out through Kelly J. Keane's tour and through all of the women speaking on it, this message is so crucial because it's different than the mainstream narrative that goes against transgenderism, right? What we're doing here is different. Oh, snap. It's Jennifer Delasega from Partners for Ethical Care. Hi. I thought you were getting a bagel.
I want to introduce Jennifer to everyone. Jennifer was with Kay Yang and I in New York City protesting in front of the UN. She is one of the founding members of Partners for Ethical Care. She was with us in Atlanta protesting against Liar Thomas, competing against women and girls and being in their locker rooms. And Jennifer is going to be with us on the ground in New York tomorrow. I'm gonna get up so you can say hi to the chat.
Come on,
Hello,
come and take over.
I'm on coffee and breakfast duty, actually.
Oh, nice. Are you going to Shelsky's?
Is that where I should go?
Yeah, maybe we should name places over the. Let's not name things over the chat. Maybe that was.
Yeah.
Security culture, folks. Security culture.
Yeah. Hello,
So
it's good to
welcome,
be here.
Jennifer.
There's so many people in the chat I can see. Yeah,
Jennifer, can you tell us a little bit about PEC and what PEC does and what you do? Like, I know you do everything, but
well, yeah, I mean, I don't do everything. We are a coalition of mothers who got together in 2021 and founded Partners for Ethical Care. Our mission is to end the gender industry. We want it abolished.
we don't
We don't think it's good for anybody. And we do that by spreading awareness and by supporting efforts. We have many different efforts that we are helping support. Most people don't know about, but we did do some visible things, such as putting up billboards in Ohio to help with the SAFE Act, which is coming up for vote again this week. I believe, actually, it's coming up on Wednesday.
Jennifer, can you explain what the SAFE Act is for those that don't know?
Yes, it's a bill to stop medicalization of children in Ohio. So we're really hoping that it gets passed. We want to see more of this happening in all of the states, since we see this as kind of the biggest way to fight, at least one of the many ways actually to fight. I mean, lawsuits are another thing that we want to see more of. So we're also supporting that through transition justice. I know there's lots of other good organizations as well who are working on lawsuits, and we like to see coordination with everybody. We all need to be working together to fight this monster that we're up against. It's a Goliath.
Absolutely. That's something that we talk about here on the show quite a bit. Just the fact that everybody's voice is important, and there's not one single person who's going to be able to reach everyone. And so it is so important that we have a diversity of voices, a diversity of tactics and strategies around how to take down this beast, because it has many heads, and we have to have just as many ways of attack back at it. And one of the things that I appreciate so much about PEC is that you also encourage everyday people to get involved, and regular parents, and you teach mothers that, that they can have a voice too, that they don't have to be a victim to this, that they can stand up and speak up for themselves and their children. Could you talk a little bit more about that, how you empower mothers and fathers through PEC?
The power of, parents. I don't think really the power of mothers. That's right. Mothers are powerful. There is nothing stronger than the instinct to protect our children. And I can't tell you, I don't know that people realize how many mothers and parents are actually in this fight. We have many, many numbers of parents who are fighting this behind the scenes. A huge network. They're powering all the organizations, all the big organizations. Gen Spect, Our Duty. My gosh, there's ones, actually I can't remember them all, and I'm sorry at the moment, but they're all over the world, powered by parents. I'm going to say mostly mothers, mostly mothers. And I do try to encourage people. I think the problem is that we have been taught not to trust ourselves as parents, not to trust our own instincts. And that is to our detriment. That we need to outsource all of our decisions to the professionals.
Right.
Well, the professionals are doing such a good job right now.
Really?
And no, I don't think so. We need to just learn to rely on ourselves. We have to rely on ourselves right now. We have to be our own heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. Those instincts are so important. They are absolutely trying to breed the instincts out of us as adults, but they're also trying to breed it right out of vulnerable children by telling them to deny the reality before their eyes and before their ears, and to look at the naked emperor and accept it as wonderful and beautiful and something to be like. So Jennifer talks a lot about the instincts.
Yes, they also, I just want to say, they also are working very hard to turn our children against us so that we cannot protect them. They are trying to make a wedge between parents and children, and that is one of the main themes that I see throughout all the families, that many thousands of families that we talk to, is
absolutely
creating a wedge.
And
so
when
that parents can't protect their children.
Yes. And that's not an over exaggeration. That's the absolute truth. When I worked at the LGBT Center, and I was paid by New York State to go into these schools and set up gay straight alliances, and we would set these clubs up. They were after school. They, teachers and LGBT staff, adults, could privately talk to students about sex and sexuality without the consent of their or knowledge of their parents. Right. And the reason why we would set those clubs up and why we wouldn't inform the parents of what they were doing was this auspice that, well, some of these parents, they might not be very accepting. They might not be very safe for them to know about this. So we're providing a service to keep these children safe from their parents. But how safe is it when you have adults coming in from external organizations and staff at the school having private conversations behind closed doors about sex, about sexuality, about so-called gender identity, and having these conversations and parents don't know? That is driving a wedge between parents and teaching children that their parents might not be safe for them. Their parents might not know best. But an outside entity from the LGBT Center, they might know better and they can be your ally.
Sorry, you're breaking out on me.
Oh, well, you're not breaking out on
me. Right. And that also it's also teaching them that that it's okay to have secrets with adults that aren't your parents, which is making them even more vulnerable for people who will take advantage of them in the worst way. And it's happened. Are you trying to get back on?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Good luck today in Philly.
Jennifer, thank you so much for popping in and being with us for a minute. That's super cool. Yeah, Jennifer and Amy flew in to New York last night from the West Coast. They are, we've got them set up, staying at a family home down there. And myself and another special guest you might hear from soon will be going to meet up with them tonight so that we can turn around and get set up for Kelly J's final stop tomorrow. And it looks like we've got footage from Jen Thomas.
Oh, look at this. These are my colors.
She's
hey, Jay Thomas. How is it out there?
Oh, hold on. I got to tighten this.
I love these. These are, I'm wearing purple and yellow tomorrow. I love it.
Just a little busy right now. Hold on.
Okay, you're okay. You're okay. We're going to, you set up. We're just covering time.
Trying to get this to tighten.
You're okay.
Yep, take your time. Do whatever you need to do.
Take your time, friend. Take your time.
So Jennifer has her lovely yellow peacoat on that I love so much.
I know. I love it.
Yes.
So
and
I do want to
some anti-female rhetoric in the background. It sounds like the TRAs have showed up, of course. We knew that.
Is that better, the sound?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I love this. Look at this beautiful barricade that's been made for them. So they've got a really wide space around them. That's so nice.
So,
all right, I'm gonna mute her while she's setting up. I do want to. I'm so glad we got to hear from Jennifer. Jennifer and I talk all the other Jennifer. There's a lot of Jennifers in this movie.
There's a lot of Jennifer. There's a lot of Jays.
Partners for Ethical Care, Jennifer, because she and I spend a lot of time talking about instincts and how important it is to trust our instincts and intuitions. And I think her offering that to parents, parents instill these values in their kids. So I think it's so urgent and important what she's doing. And I want to mention one other thing that's going on today. So going back to Tacoma, Tacoma was a very, was a challenging event. All of these events have been challenging in their own different ways. But Tacoma, there was some attacks on women. There was a woman, April Morrow, who is the founder of Sovereign Women Speaks, who had her hand broken. And these women have decided to do another event. It is later this afternoon. Normally, I do love to live stream these these things. But I because of getting ready for tomorrow, I am not able. But Kara Dansky is in Washington State right now. Oh, the Washington State event has changed. Okay, so maybe I should not speak on it. I am going off of information I heard yesterday, but I see in the chat that Kara is saying it has changed. But this is just to say, regardless of whether or not it has changed or not, I will say, you know, what I'm really happy to see is that the women who were faced with this opposition. In fact, these TRAs are constantly trying to silence us. And what is so exciting about the response is that women are responding by doing more. Women are responding by doing more, and by taking more actions, by speaking out publicly more. So their attempts to silence us and drown us out with sound is having the opposite impact than they intended, and I love seeing that. So Kara's saying there's the event has changed due to unforeseen circumstances. So I won't speak to it anymore. But I know that they will change it into a different day.
And you know, the more they try to silence us, just like you said, Amy, the harder we fight. And the fact that they are trying so hard to silence us across every sector of society, I mean, this is practically blacklisted from the media. The more they try to silence us, the more that we know that we are hovering over the truth. The more we know that the resistance that we are building is dangerous and is a threat to their agenda, to the gender identity industry. We know when, you know,
you're frozen, Kay.
Oh, I'm frozen.
You got frozen for just a minute.
Okay.
And maybe you got frozen. Okay. I am seeing in the chat. Nope, you're back again. I also saw in the chat, Kay Yang, that Jessica was asking for a link. I didn't know. I thought maybe she was streaming for someone else, but if we can
now.
Get her a link in case she wants to join us in here as well.
Oh, yeah. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I also know Jenna DeQuarto from WLRN is going to be there as well. So that's super cool. Jenna and I worked together in Madison at the Courage Calls to Courage conference, documenting the events there that weekend. There were some amazing speakers at the public library there. We had Jessica Gonzalez was one. We had Jeanette Cooper from PEC. Thistle Pedersen from WLRN, of course, and Kara Dansky from Women's Declaration International. They were all speakers at the event, and that was another spot where we got mobbed by TRAs who tried to silence us as we gathered around the corner from the library at the state capitol in Madison, Wisconsin. We had a permit to be on the steps to hold our event, and of course, the TRAs came with their signs, their banners, and their noisemakers, and they completely occupied the space that we had permitted for us, and they would not allow us to have the space that we were supposed to be in. And the police there did absolutely nothing to assist us. They did not help enforce the permit that we had attained in any way. They did not help to create any type of a barrier or to put in any safety measures whatsoever, as men were. Here comes Jennifer.
Not here.
What's that, Jen?
It's 1 o'clock and Kelly's not here. So this might be a little delayed, like by 15 minutes or so.
That's okay.
We have a crowd of about, how do I reverse the image so you can see it?
If you go to your camera, if you go to the settings and you go to camera, you can choose back camera.
So bear with us, folks. This is okay. Just bear with us, everyone. It's grassroots. We do everything ourselves.
100 here. I'll put it on this until she gets there so you have something to see.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we are getting our first view of the scene downtown Philadelphia. They are at the Liberty Bell Plaza. They are the patch of space that they are on is, I think it's called the People's Plaza. It's kind of like a free speech zone that's been designated there for protests and stuff like that. If you've been to Philly before, or the Liberty Bell Plaza before, you probably know where it is. It's kind of across from the Liberty Bell, so we might actually get to see some of that iconic imagery as well today. We are waiting for Kelly J. Keane to arrive on the scene, and we are just getting a glimpse of the TRAs are assembling. I can hear their annoying voices.
Well, and this is what we know. They drown us out with these sound machines because they, in fact, themselves have nothing to say.
Yeah,
So they have nothing. They have nothing to offer. They have nothing to say. They have no. There is no way for them to either they cannot present a counter argument to what we are saying. They cannot refute our arguments. They cannot poke holes in our arguments. They have no way to come at what we are saying with any kind of logic or reasoning or analysis. So all they can do is try to actually silence us and try to drown us out. So this is
sorry, Amy, go ahead.
It's just the tactic that we see again and again. And yeah, VF 555, it is bullying. It's bullying. It's no debate. And the way that they call us TERFs, the way that they speak of us, you can see it in, I don't know, Kay Yang, if you want to put up one of their little flyers that they made against us for this event. In the counter flyer to this event, I remember they used the term "don't just be a trans ally, be an accomplice." So they are actually inviting people to do harm, be an accomplice in crime against women. This once you dehumanize someone, it makes crime against them seem like an acceptable thing. And we have to keep reminding people we are women, we are human beings. When you do crimes against quote unquote TERFs, this is violence against women in broad daylight. It's really shocking to see.
Yeah, and when they're not just using noisemakers and loud sirens and pots and pans to silence us, it's the violent rhetoric and threats that are all over the internet, that they say in person, that they brandish on their shirts to kill TERFs. Every time that this violent rhetoric is allowed to continue anywhere, that acts as a way to silence women and deter them from speaking up, to keep us scared and saying, oh my God, the threat of male violence is going to keep me from speaking on this issue. So we know that that's part of the tactic as well. It's not just noise making, it's the threat of violence that is behind that noise making. So here's an image that Amy was referring to. I don't know how well you all can see it. This was posted online in response to Kelly J. Keane's stop in Philadelphia. It says, the TERFs are coming back to town on the 13th. Y'all know the drill. Transphobia has no place in our city. They didn't learn the first time, So it's time for round 2. Now, this is the rhetoric of a violent abuser. She didn't learn the first time, so it's time for round 2. The rounds even signifying like what? The rounds in a fight. So women weren't knocked down and silenced the first time, so now they're going to come back and hit us harder to try to silence us this time. So they are using the threat of violence, fear, and intimidation to prevent women from speaking up, not just about our sex-based rights, but on the fact that children are being healthy children are being medicalized in the name of gender identity ideology. They are being medicalized and sterilized and told that they are born in the wrong body.
You know, I really like this point that's being made here by Mary, and also the one right after it, a few after it by Sarah. So we can see in their branding, they are trying to make their images look cutesy and retro and very Sesame Street and childlike.
Child
so
friendly, that's for sure.
child friendly, exactly. And this is of course a cover for the very real violence that they are promoting. It's really you know, we of course see through this tactic, but you know, these Muppet characters, the cute folksy language, you know, y'all folks, all of this it's a rhetorical cover for the violence that they are suggesting.
And they love to co-opt language and rhetoric from other oppressed groups and try to use it and formulate it into their own propaganda. Like with this one, it says, bring your friends, bring the noise, be a trans accomplice, not just an ally. This is actually a reference to a zine called Accomplices, Not Allies. And that was written by a former friend of mine, actually an Indigenous land defender. And it has to do with Indigenous land defense and sacred site protection. And now it's being used in this way. So that's an issue as well, how the rhetoric from different oppressed groups is being used to promote this ideology and try to get people to it's like oppression by association. You know, they just mimic. It's more mimicry, right? This is more mimicry. Just like men are trying to mimic everything about women and then say, oh, I'm scared to go in the men's bathroom, so I need to come in women's bathroom. So this is the same type of idea, mimicry, so that you can get people's defenses and their guard down, and you can do like the old bait and switch, right? So this whole thing, this advertisement and other things that they posted online, like Amy said, they use these colors, they use these characters that are very friendly to children, draws them in, and that is their target audience. Children.
I mean, it literally says be cute in this flyer. Be cute while you're doing violence. It's really it's just so upsetting. And I think it's very important for us to continue to name the tactics that they use, to be very clear about these tactics that are being used against us. So, you know, that's why Kay Yang and myself are always breaking these down, because it's worth when we name them specifically and explicitly, we can see through them for what they truly are. You know, there is more going on than a call to you know, bring some noise and have a counter protest. There's a lot more levels at work in these things, and you can, by their own tactics, you can see through to who these people really are and what they're promoting. And I love right now, I'm seeing Brittany in the background of a slightly twisted female. That's great to see. I'm seeing some more. It looks like we can see some security that they have at the event. There's Jessica. Is she covering that for WLRN?
I think she is.
Okay, let me see if
So
I can bring
we
that
can
up.
check in with them as well and see what's going
Yeah.
on over on their stream. I don't see Jenna, so she must not be there yet, or maybe she is, but we'll keep an eye out for folks. So yeah, talking about their tactics, they're telling people, hey, come out, everybody gather here. We're going to be assembling in a large mob, and we're going to use our collective power to create intimidation and fear in women so that we can silence them. That's what it's about, silencing women, and also they using violent threats to back that, right? Yeah. They're not just saying be quiet, it's be quiet or else, turf, right? So here's another
Absolutely.
This is another one of the images that they posted online. Philly is a no turf zone. Get that bullshit out of here, it says. Well, they're very wrong, because Philly is just like everywhere else in the world, about 50% female. And most women, when they find out what a turf is, they realize, oh, I align with that. So, they couldn't be more wrong when they say Philly is a no turf zone. They want it to be a zone where they can have their ideology reigning supreme. And this is what this is all about. This is about forcing the acceptance of trans and gender identity ideology in the public sphere where it has no place. And not just the ideology, but it's about forcing women and children and men too. It's about forcing the public to accept fetishes being acted out and displayed in public, which is what it is when a male autogynephile walks around with his tiny little skirt on, just like we had a man in Madison, Wisconsin, with a teeny little plaid schoolgirl skirt on, following us around, saying violent, misogynistic things. He was acting out a fetish in public.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. You want to pull up the one from New York as well?
Yes, I have a few of those.
And just so you know, Kay Yang, I'm probably not gonna put up too much footage myself, because I'm trying to keep my bandwidth really crisp. There was a moment when you were talking, I realized now when I was saying you cut out, I'm sure it was actually just that I was cutting out. So I don't know if yeah. So I'm gonna just keep I'm not gonna put up any extraneous footage for myself, so that I can stay as clear as possible.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Thanks, Amy. I want you to stay as clear as possible. There's a lot going on right now. I actually just came from a meeting with the mother of a trans-identified child. Crazy story there. It always is. So, okay, here's one of the posts that was
how do I
put on Twitter. This is from a guy that goes by Kai Shevers. This person is basically a stalker. He likes to stalk a lot of the women involved in this movement. He's a big fan of Jeanette Cooper from PEC. He likes to stalk, he likes to stalk Alex from the Gender Mapper. So anyways, he made this post that says Kelly J. Keane has released the location of her anti-trans rally in New York City. Interesting way of putting it. So free speech for women is automatically anti-trans. So this is the last stop of her U.S. tour, spreading transphobic propaganda. So transphobic propaganda means what? Observing the reality in front of our eyes and our ears. They are calling that transphobic propaganda, when we know that actually propaganda that is pro-gender industry is disseminated through the medical industry, major corporations. It's coming from big banks. It's on the television. It's on Netflix. It's on Facebook, Twitter. It's coming from everywhere. So they actually have propaganda behind them. We have women giving up their time, their energy, their unpaid labor, and taking extreme risk to go out there and observe reality. And now we're being called fascists and right-wing Christians in one big anti-trans movement. Well, they do have one thing, right? That this is turning into a rather big movement of people from all walks of life and backgrounds who are unifying to say, absolutely not. No more medicalization and sterilization of children in the name of gender identity. No. So
We fought for them. We're not giving them up. We're not giving them up. I think she's about 5 minutes away, so I'm.
Cool.
Nobody is born in the wrong body. Nobody is born in the wrong body.
I love it. Well, they're already speaking out even as we are waiting. Looks like we're seeing security. Looks like we're seeing good
Together we'll defend her.
good police force.
Now's
All
the
the bike
time
police are out.
to hold the line for Title IX. Don't forget about Title IX because they obliterated that. Title IX has been gutted. It's been gutted if you don't know. So if you stand for women, you should know this, that these regressive gender ideologues have gutted Title IX.
Thanks, Shelby, for being here.
Gender. Together we'll defend her. Now's the time to hold the line for Title IX.
Yeah, I love that. So we're hearing Jay Thomas in the background, which is great. If everyone heard, KJK is about 5 minutes out, so she's running a little late today. But hopefully we will be seeing her very shortly. People are already being activated. We're hearing chants in the background. I'm excited to hear all of these amazing women speak. And getting to hear their amazing voices. What's so great about these events also is that we really hear different women speaking on so many different sides of this issue. You know, we're all here for a single issue, which is women standing and holding our boundaries and right to free speech against this identity ideology movement. But there are women who are standing up for incarcerated women. There are women who are standing up for mothers. There are detransitioners who are standing up. There are women who are sexual assault survivors standing up for safeguarding. There are all kinds of facets. There's the sports issue that women are fighting for. There's what's going on in our schools. So this movement takes so many of us because our unique voices are required to grapple with the sort of breadth of what we see coming from this side of the ideology. And we didn't go into our bios today, but I do want to say I really appreciate being here with Sue Yang, aka the Deprogrammer, because she really grapples with this as an agenda, a global top-down agenda that is being funded and disseminated into the culture by the global and corporate elites at a government and corporate level. And she really breaks down what values are at work in this ideology and what they are pushing into the culture. You know, because there is the surface level that we see from media, in Hollywood, in our newscasting. But then there are these underlying values that are being pushed into the culture that are not on the level, you know, and these are the things like the underlying pedophilia of this movement, the underlying pornification of women and children that we see in this movement. There are a lot of values that are, and the dehumanization of all people ultimately. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different levels that this is working on, because there's the kind of global propaganda level. That's what we see on the television. That's what we see, you know, in the New York Times and on CNN. There's that level of narrative being pushed, but there's a lot of underground things that are being seeded in a much more subtle, image-based, symbolic level that we have to pay very close attention to so we can pick up on these things.
And everything that we're seeing on the surface, it's all propaganda for a much larger war being waged on our bodies and our minds. This is actually all part of colonization. This is that needs to be seen as part of colonizing the female reproductive capacity, our biology, and ultimately colonizing all life on Earth. That is what is really underlying and driving all of this, the push for the control of reproduction by man and by man-made technology. That's what this is about. That's all of these agendas coalesce, right? You've got the issues around surrogacy and the harvesting of women's bodies, the harvesting of women's wombs, the fact that men who claim to be women are demanding that they have access to our wombs. They want our wombs transplanted into themselves so they can live out some fantasy, a twisted delusion of male motherhood. This is all in the background driving and underpinning this. And why the focus on the children? Well, very simple, because if you can control the minds of a society's children, then you can eventually control that entire society. You program the children, they grow up with that programming. They are at your whim and at your service, and they are ready for just the next layer of more twisted programming. So that's what's going on here. This is why children are being targeted, because they want to really want to seed this idea that reproduction is something that does not belong in the control of women, that women do not deserve reproductive control and autonomy. And we know that because for 4,000 years at least, the historical and archaeological records show and prove that women have not had autonomy and control over our reproduction. So this is driving all of this one long agenda, pushing us towards transhumanism and the usurping of reproduction from women into the hands of men and male sciences and industry. Sorry.
I want to respond to Kellyanne. You are listening right now to Kay Yang, aka the Deprogrammer. She runs the amazing website Stop Female Erasure. Everything that she is speaking to right now, you can find links and information on that website. And also, please follow her YouTube channel, The Deprogrammer, where she goes into a lot of this information. And I want to sort of underscore what Kay Yang is saying, because the values, we have to look at the values that we are seeing pushed into the culture. We can't just look at the action. The action is, the medicalization of sex stereotype non-conforming kids. The action is the boundary violation of women and girls, our bodies and our private spaces. These are actions that are being taken against us, but the underlying values behind those actions are an absolute disembodiment, a dissociation from reality, a linguistic cognitive dissonance being pushed into the culture that dissociates us from our primary sense perceptions, it's dissociating kids from their own eyes, ears, instincts, from being able to trust their own body awareness. So kids are being told they cannot trust their own embodied awareness. Okay. So this puts it puts all of us in a very vulnerable position, because now they are in a situation where they have to trust the stranger and what the stranger tells them about himself before trusting their own eyes and ears. This is also a hyper objectification of the human body, specifically women, but really of all of us. It's objecting us. So it's a separation. Objectification itself is a separation from embodiment. It's a commodification of bodies, and a compartmentalization. So bodies are no longer seen as holistic, complex ecosystems of our beingness, but compartmentalized into bits and parts that are interchangeable, can be bought and sold. These Frankensteinian doctors are telling girls, you can cut off your breasts, and then if you want to have breasts again, we'll just remake the breasts. So there's an idea putting into the culture that we are just a series of interchangeable parts rather than holistic beings. And this is why I speak about embodiment so much, because our embodiment is our primary understanding of ourselves. When babies are born, they are not conceptualizing beings. They don't come into the world with set concepts in their brains, conceptualizing the world around them. We are born into the world as sensing, feeling beings. And those senses, those primary sense awarenesses, these are a guidance system. These are a safeguarding system that is natural to human beings. When we touch a hot pan and our hand recoils, it's because we have trust in our primary sensations. We pay attention to our primary sensations to keep us safe. And this includes our instincts for sex recognition. That is part of the primary instinct awareness. So we have to be calling out these values, these tactics, and we have to be not just fighting them, but we have to be revaluing that which we wish to see. So that is why I love what Jennifer was saying earlier, helping parents trust their own intuition and instincts when it comes to their primary function of loving and raising and being protectors of their kids, not outsourcing. We cannot outsource our instincts. We cannot outsource the expertise that we have on our own bodies and our own intuitions. We cannot outsource these to so-called experts, because these are people who are trying to make a profit off of us. They are profiting off the medicalization of sex stereotype non-conforming kids. So there is absolutely no reason to give them any of this benefit of their of expertise. We have to claim our own expertise and our own embodiment. And I saw that Radical Cartoons is reminding everyone, of course, to follow the wonderful work of Jennifer Billick of the 11th Hour blog. She definitely goes into the deep issues of transhumanism, the money. She follows the billionaires who are profiting from this industry. We're seeing more women coming up. It looks like we're getting closer. I hope you've already been with us for about an hour.
Okay, I was trying to see if anything was happening yet, but it looks like they're just they're waiting for Kelly J and just holding down the space. Okay, welcome. If you are just tuning in, you are live now with Amy Sousa and Kay Yang. Of course, she's Amy Sousa, I'm Kay Yang, and you know what? I'm going to take a minute and just introduce you to Amy's work if you don't know it already, just because she has just gone on like one of her wonderful monologues. She has a degree in theater from NYU, the Tisch School of the Arts, and an MA in depth psychology from the Pacifica Graduate Institute. Her graduate and postgraduate work has focused on creative imagination and eco-psychology as the basis for building embodied awareness and psychological integrity. She spent 15 years in the New York City public schools working with students on self-esteem building, conflict resolution, anger management, and peer mediation. Amy's work and research background has her with a really unique lens to form this critical analysis on the concept of gender identity, the problem with the curriculum that's now being taught in schools, and the harms that this indoctrination does to the psychological health of children. And of course, that's through dissociating them from their own sense perceptions. Amy uncovers the very real safeguarding issues engendered from teaching the values of identity concepts to women and children. So yes, wow, Amy, nice creds. Yes, she does have some great creds here. I
will go ahead and return the favor by giving a background and bio to the wonderful Kay Yang. And I thank you all for being here with us and listening as we are just sharing with you this space as we wait for events on the ground. Oh,
there's Kelly.
Let's see here.
Let's see. Oh, we're getting started. Almost. In a minute.
All right.
I don't mind. I think maybe if we go back, then they're further away. Yeah.
Okay, they're still setting up, and I see that
figure out where they're gonna set up.
Yeah, Kelly J's.
That's great.
Yeah, Kelly J. Keane has not yet gone live on her channel. So I want to mention, I did mention before, Kay Yang is the creator of StopFemaleErasure.com. She is the writer, filmmaker, artist, and activist behind the Deprogrammer. Kay Yang exposes the intersections of the corporate, government, nonprofit collusion driving the transgender movement, which is a smokescreen for a massive social engineering and propaganda war being used to facilitate female erasure in language and law on a worldwide scale. Her work connects the dots between the normalized practices of child sexualization, we were talking about that earlier, and the proliferation of biopharmaceutical transhumanist technologies, and frames these agendas as foundational to the colonization of the female body and female reproductive control. Of course, this is one of the main reasons that any woman who calls herself a feminist is here in this movement, or a femalist, as Kelly J. Keane says. Kay Yang's perspective is uniquely informed by her past, uncovering the money behind the co-optation of direct action-based environmental resistance movements and indigenous land struggles, as well as by her experiences indoctrinating youth with gender ideology in the New York City public schools while working at an LGBT nonprofit funded by the New York State Department of Health. So Kay Yang, among other things, is our absolute favorite whistleblower on this topic.
I think I'm the only one. I don't know if there are others. So. I've been waiting. Let's see what Kelly J's saying. Okay, perfect.
That men don't have vaginas. But there is no such thing as non-binary. And no matter what you want to covet, boys, you are not having our rights. In the United States of America right now, there are men who have raped women who are serving time in American women's prisons. Look at that. Listen to those men's voices. Women's suffrage 2.0. These young men, and some of them quite old, they can't bear the idea that women are saying no. Women are saying, keep your penises out of our spaces. Keep your perversion out of our schools. Keep your penises out of our prisons. We are saying no, we are meaning no, and eventually you and your silly women are going to learn to listen. Right, if you don't know, those of you walking past, if you don't know, your children in their school right now are learning that they can choose their biological sex. Their teachers are telling them that their gender identity is fixed and their biological sex is something they can change. And these pathetic men opposite me, what they think is that they can tell us what we think and what we say. Some of these men down here are 6 foot, big men, in the same toilets and facilities as your daughters. So, just have a look around. If you don't believe me, go and have a look at the people on the other side of this fence. And each and every one of you walking past, if you're not speaking up, you are complicit. Philly is a women's city. Philly is a women's city. Philly is a women's city. For women, 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 women. A woman is an adult human female. Right, over here, what these people here want is they want to slice off the breasts of teenage girls. They want to make it okay to sterilize your children. When you give a child puberty blockers, you sterilize children. These people are groomers. They want to mutilate kids. Okay, this is a Speaker's Corner event. This is Let Women Speak. These hilarious women who basically, if we just listen to what they're saying, what this woman is saying is she wants men in women's spaces. She wants 13-year-old girls to have their breasts sliced off after they've spent years self-harming, and then she wants a surgeon to help finish them off.
You thought you could call this violence, this trauma, this second-class people we know. The future looks like you're looking at it right now. This is what the world looks like when we win. And I'm saying, I never knew that. I never knew that. Ideas. I never knew past that time. Oh, I know. All you know how to do is look at us and respond. You don't overreact. You don't even know.
We want to mutilate children. We want to tell them no. These people want rapists in women's prisons. We want to tell them no. That's all that's happening here today. For those of you walking past, what you need to know about your country is you have male rapists in women's prisons, raping women. Those women cannot escape. You have puberty blockers sterilizing children. You have surgeons in this state cutting off the breasts of teenage girls because they say they're boys. That's what those people want. Right, this is Let Women Speak. We are creating a space for women to speak. Those people, they don't want it. They don't want women to speak. They don't want to hear our voices. They want to break up families. They want to totally destroy society. Piece by piece by piece. There's a bloke there who's calls himself a woman. He's about 6'2". He's in the same space as your daughters. Right. So come up, speak. Try and ignore the morons right down there, because see, trans youth is sterilizing children. The idea of trans youth is cutting off the breasts of teenage girls who say they're boys. Trans youth is castrating teenage boys. That's what trans youth is. What they want to do is they want to take your lesbian daughter and they want to turn them into their straight son. It is homophobia on acid.
Had to read a little bit of information.
So, here we go. Right. Shut up, you. Of course they do. Black trans women run this city. Oh, yeah. Okay. Jen, do you want to come and speak?
You can say what you want, but we know what it is. You are nothing.
My name is Jessica Gonzalez. I'm the founder of Trust Collective, and a man here in Philadelphia just told me that I am nothing because I don't believe that he is a woman. As a card-carrying, tax-paying resident of the state of Pennsylvania, I'm here to tell you that TERFs are welcome here. I can tell you without a doubt me walk 2 blocks in any direction and start fucking asking. From the slums of Kensington to the luxury apartments of Rittenhouse Square, from the hustle and bustle of Philadelphia to the backcountry roads that are the backbone of this working class state, all of Pennsylvania knows what a woman is. If you don't believe me, drive 10 miles in any direction and start fucking asking. Today, I want to talk about keeping our resolve in the face of relentless harassment by trans supremacist terrorists. I want to talk about the need for women to stay locked in and focused as part of our duty to the next generation and beyond. Don't let history catch you hiding behind a keyboard while your sisters are outside.
What do we do?
Don't let it be you.
What do we do?
If your sisters are out,
What do we
you
do?
come out too. Consciousness comes with a duty. Your awareness is a calling. Treat it that way. You are called to stand for the as yet dormant majority. You are called to join in the struggle for the liberation of women and girls. We organizers don't need fans, we need comrades. As you can see from what's going on around me here, I can't lie and tell you that it's easy to come out to these events. But this response is how you know it's working. They're doing everything they can to rally everyone because they know it will take everyone that they can rally to stop us. Frankly, we should be grateful for the free promotion. We all know once the general public realizes what's going on, it's game over. Ordinary people do not like the idea of children being offered the option of hormones and surgery. Ordinary people know children cannot consent. Ordinary people don't like the idea of men dominating in women's sports. They know that it's taller, stronger, and faster. And male participation in female sports therefore defeats the purpose of female sports. Ordinary people don't like that some men get to commit crimes and then have the opportunity to minimize the difficulty of their incarceration by shifting that difficulty onto vulnerable women through requesting transfers to women's prisons. Ordinary people don't want men in women's jails. Even the correction officers agree with us. Ordinary people know there is no objective difference between men that call themselves trans women and any other men. Neither is closer to being a woman than the other. Neither is safer to be around women and children in our safe spaces than the other. Neither approximates women's physicality more than the other. In other words, these are the same picture. These trans identities, supremacists, terrorists, come out in droves to tell us to terrorists go home. They say it like they're going to drive us into a rat holes or something. What they already know deep inside is everyone else is also already a TERF. And with that, I close by saying, long live the TERF, love the majority, all power to the women. And before I go, do you know why we're winning? Because women can't lose. Keep up the fight. TERFs up!
So we're here, and there's a bunch of basically young white kids and adult men here trying to stop us from speaking, trying to stop women from speaking. And they're like rich, entitled little college kids that really never faced adversity. They don't know adversity. They don't know that when they go into the bathroom and it's like City Hall or whatever, there could be a dude in there and nobody's going to help them. Nobody's even watching to make sure when a dude goes in that that's notable and that should be, remarked upon. No, men are going to have to start holding the door open for us when we're in the bathroom, when we're in the public restroom, because what? Some kid thinks that they can change sex. Honey, you can change sex. I don't know what Elon told you. I don't know why you think our technology is so great, but surgery on your genitals is a delicate procedure. And
and they're not gonna do it right. So you're gonna go back and get 30, 40 procedures, and you have your little friends cheering you along, and guess what? They're not gonna be there when you're shitting your pants when you're 25. They're not gonna be there. Love is love. They don't love you. They hate you. They want you to chop pieces of your body off. They don't love. Trans is gay conversion. If you are gay or lesbian and you get mixed up with this cult, they will destroy you. So take heed, children. Take heed. Because these people want you to damage yourself and your future. And then they want to leave you alone. That's what this is. It's a lonely, regressive, ideological cult. Thank you so much. Thank you. Jennifer Thomas!
Okay. I live in Philadelphia. This is my home. I am here today as a woman, as a mother, as a nurse. I know and will speak the truth. I know humans are mammals. I know that a mother carries the eggs of her potential offspring inside of her body while she is still in the body of her mother. A mother is a female parent, whether human, elephant, dog, cow, tiger, bear. I know that humans cannot change sex. We cannot purchase sex like a consumer good. I know that gender is not assigned at birth. Sex is observed and recorded at birth. Sex can also be observed while a fetus is still growing inside their mother's body. I knew my son was a boy when I was 10 weeks pregnant. I found out with a blood test. I know my children and I will protect them at all costs. I know that girls and boys are different in some ways, similar in many ways, and that those differences do not mean one is better than the other. I know that being a girl, a boy, a woman, a man is not about wearing a costume. It is about being human. I know that we live in a world where the following happens. Girls cannot go to school in Afghanistan. 1 in 3 women are victims of physical or sexual violence in their one precious lifetime. 1 in 5 girls around the world are forced to marry adult men. These girls are taken from their families, raped, and become pregnant. Female genital mutilation has been performed on over 200 million girls and women globally. And I know that that number doesn't include the children in the US, the UK, and across the West who are also being mutilated on the altar of gender. I know that no child is born in the wrong body. What does it even mean to be born in the wrong body? As someone who grew up with dysfunction and abuse, there were so many times I wish I could have been anywhere but in my body. I would have given anything to be someone else. I would have given anything to be a girl in the right way. I know that if I had been a teenager right now, I would have fallen prey to this ideology. And I am grateful I was able to grow into the strong and embodied mother and woman that I am today. I know that being a child is hard. Going through puberty can be painful. Growing up gay, lesbian, or bisexual can be lonely and scary. Suffering from gender dysphoria or any other mental distress can be excruciating. People in pain deserve well-tested, compassionate care, not cruel experiments. I am here to tell you that you were born in your body, the only body you will ever have in your one precious life. You are your body. No mistake was made. You cannot live without your body. I know that children have a right to their one precious childhood, free from the interference, manipulation, gaslighting, lies, and physical and emotional abuse of adults who use children as pawns in their game. I know that the game pays. The game includes pharmaceutical companies, the medical industrial complex, insurance corporations, and ideologues who are peddling their wares like so much poisonous snake oil. I here because I will not call the mothers I serve as a nurse a birthing body or chop her into pieces. A uterus have her here, a bleeder there. I will not do that. I will not lie. I will not shut up. I will not give up. I am standing here with you, afraid but determined, worried but absolutely secure in my position that it is never okay to lie to children about who they are. It is never okay to tell children to trust someone who lies to them. It is never okay to give children drugs that interfere with the normal trajectory of their development. It is never okay to mutilate a child or adolescent's genitals, even if it happens in a surgical suite. This is not complicated. Either you think it's okay to chop the breasts off of children or you don't. Either you think it's okay for children to cross the threshold into adulthood with their bodies and minds intact or you don't. Keep speaking out, whether at a speaker's corner or in a one-on-one conversation with a friend. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart Kelly J. Keane for lighting a fire in me, for flying across an ocean for your home in England to fight for the rights of women to speak and for children to live. Thank you. And I want to thank all the women and men who are standing here today, perhaps very afraid, perhaps at great cost to your livelihood or friendships or safety. I love you because you cannot not do anything other than stand for the truth, to defend the rights of children who cannot defend themselves, and to stand up to bullies who have nothing more intelligent to say than go home, Turks. I am home and I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, I just want to remind for people walking past, the people playing all the music, they're the ones that think 13-year-old girls should have their breasts sliced off if they call themselves boys. The people opposite, what they want is they want massive, great big men in dresses in spaces with your daughters. Massive, great big bloke talking right now. So, that man there, he wants to use spaces with your daughter. That man there, he wants to go in changing rooms with little girls. Let's go. Go home. Go home. Okay, what we know about these people surrounding us is they feel emboldened by a gutless government after government after government. This is not a party political issue. We are the constituency of women and we will not be erased. Women don't have penises, not even inverted ones. Men don't have vaginas. No man can give birth. There is no such thing as non-binary. Transphobia means you don't think girls should have their breasts cut off. Transphobia means you don't think we should sterilize children. I'll be transphobic every day of the week until you men stop invading our fucking rights. Alright, who's next? Got to go. Hey, oh, your transphobia has got to go. Alright. I can bring on the bacon, fire it up in a pan, and never, 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 never let you forget you're a man, 'cause I'm a woman. W-O-M-A-N. Let me say it again. I'm a woman. W-O-M-A-N. How did we get to this place where it's now considered controversial, hateful, bigoted, and even murderous to affirm that there are only two sexes and that a man is no kind of woman and that there are no subsets of women?
I am not a cis woman. I am just a woman. There is nothing less and nothing more. I work in theater with kids and teenagers, and I was told by a school psychologist that I was not allowed to say girls or boys. I was told by this person to only use non-gendered language, she said. Instead, for the scooter piece, I was told to say high voices and low voices. This is madness. Why are we so damn confused? But here's the thing. We're not confused. None of us are confused. And we must continue to tell ourselves, our children, and when we are filled with enough courage that we can speak out, we need to tell other people, our daughters, our sons, our workplaces, our government, our representatives. We need to tell all of them that we are not confused. My 11-year-old daughter was asked the first day of school if she was a member of the LGBTQ plus community and what her pronouns were and whether they could be shared with her parents. So let's put this in English. A male teacher asked my 11-year-old daughter what her sexual preferences were and whether she was unhappy with her body and would like to change it, and whether this male teacher could keep a secret with her, with my little girl, from her parents. We have reached a point in Western society, which is an important distinction because this doesn't happen in a lot of other cultures. We have the elitism to have this happen. This is a luxury belief. We need to be simply telling the truth. The emperor has no clothes. Just saying that is an act of resistance. Do not underestimate how crucial it is that we tell ourselves the truth. Now we live in this Orwellian, freaky world. Well, let me quote you a little bit from Orwell. This is from 1984. There was truth and there was untruth. And if you clung to the truth, even against the whole world, you were not man. We are not crazy. And nobody should be telling us that. A woman is adult, human, female. Tell the truth. Thank you. Just one more time. Women don't have penises. There is no such thing as non-binary. And there's no such thing as a trans child. That is simply a child on the path to being mutilated and sterilized. I came here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania today. I lived in central Pennsylvania for about 25 years, and during that time, I owned and operated a women's-only martial arts studio. I hold a third-degree black belt, and all of my students were women and girls. And I can tell you right now, none of them had a penis. Not a single fucking one. And I can tell you that some of my students dressed like boys. Some of my students were lesbians. Some of them had short hair. What I also know is how much they grew, how empowered they became in a women's-only space. I sat on the board of a women's rape, crisis, and domestic violence shelter. And I can tell you that those spaces only. They must be women only. I am a rape survivor. I am a survivor of child molestation. I know the harm what men can do. And I don't care if you call yourself a woman or a turtle. I don't care if you call yourself a woman or a desk chair. I know the harm that men do. Every single mixed sex school that I trained in had about 2% women. And of those 2%, less than half of a percent made it to black belt. Why? Because violence is rampant in martial arts as well. I am here today for every single one of the thousands of women who disclosed to me while I taught self-defense. In universities, in women's clubs, at YWCAs, I have listened to thousands of women tell me about the violence that they've experienced. And I can tell you, it was not at the hands of women. It was at the hands of men. I'm here for every single girl student. I am here for every single woman I ever taught. I am here for them today. I am here for every single woman who has ever experienced male violence. I am here for every woman who's going to have some man claiming to be a woman expose himself in the locker room and the bathroom. I am here for my sisters who are going to be forced to share a room in a domestic violence shelter. I am here for every rape survivor that will pick up the phone to call for help and a man answers.
And you can have that camera in my face. As you can see, I'm not hiding. I'm not afraid. I'm not hiding. Not hiding at all. So no, I'm not. And I'm not validating you anymore. Bye, bitch. I said bye, bitch. I'm talking to you. Bye, bitch. Bye. So long. See you later. Hit the road. Kick rock. I don't know how many different ways to tell you to go. Oh wait, there's one. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home.
What's happening is they are beginning to sort of surround. It's fine because there's barricades and it's very interesting. There's a girl behind who says there's 300,000 children who identify as trans in the UK and the USA. That's 300,000 children at risk of being sterilised. That's 300,000 medical patients for life. That's 300,000 children who lose their sexual function.
Good? So, thank you for those statistics. I mean, there's a woman there with grey hair, right, that keeps doing all the shouting.
They know that the people don't really want it.
That's it. It's alright. It's because it's coming. That's fine.
Did I not tell them?
Right, they need to not be too close because of their feedback. Okay. Right, so we're going to carry on.
We're going to carry on.
They just lose it.
Okay, turn it away. That's it.
So we're going to carry on.
Just telling the truth. That's good. Just for good measure, right? There is no such thing as a trans child. No woman has a penis. No man has a vagina. And just because you get your breast cut off, it doesn't mean you're not a woman. Okay, right, next.
Everything that has ever been awarded to anybody was fought for.
You know what you need to do is you can't. I can hold the paper if you want. But you need to hold
By
the
trans
paper.
people. Women got their rights from trans people.
How's that? Good? I tried talking to several of these people over there, and all they did was scream in my face. I asked them when we maced children, because I don't remember that at all. And I'm sure we got a lot of men in here that are uncomfortable because they have their penis stuffed up their butt. And honestly, they've never done it from that way before. It's usually somebody else's penis up your ass. I am 59 years old and I remember the first women's rights movement. I remember the first pride. We love gay people. You can't trans gay away. It is not possible. And that's why it kind of saddens me to see all these brides. But anyway, did everybody see the trans man, woman, whatever, who took off his clothes on national TV, exposed his penis to everyone? And it was called Stunning and Brave because he played a piano with his little penis. Oh yeah, the girls up in Vermont that were taken out of their locker room, so one boy did not feel bad. I was told as a kid, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. They need to take care of the real kids that are being bullied at school through no fault of their own. The disabled, the poor kids, but they want to take care of trans kids first. It's something they're doing by their own free will. Help the bullied, real bullied kids first. There is no long-term study on the effect these drugs have on people. Look at Jazz Jennings. Her mother was so happy and so for her and behind her and everything. And now he has a vagina that him. Now he has a pseudo vagina that he can't even have sex with. He will never know what sexual pleasure is. And her mom was fine then, but since she got that, the mom keeps bullying her now about her. She was all right with him getting his penis cut off, but not so much about getting sex. Oh yeah, I was a nurse for most of my adult life. I did psychiatric nursing, and I dealt with a lot of young kids who were confused about why they are the way they are, and I did my best to support them. But you guys are always so angry. I'm a Christian woman, and Kelly, you may not believe in God, but he believes in you. He put you here to get us riled up and start letting our voices be heard and not being canceled because we're not 12 years old or 20 years old. And I say something else, I can't remember. I just want to say, please, talk to the Lord and get yourself some peace, because it's not good to be so angry all the time. Thank you.
I just for people walking past, if you don't know what's going on, the people over there, they want to slice off the breasts of teenage girls who say they're boys.
We've got a world to win. We've got a world to win. We've got a world to win.
Those people opposite, they think. So those people opposite, they want little boys and girls to be sterilized. They want children to lose their sexual function before they've even ever fallen in love. They want to tell you that giant blokes in dresses like that guy just in the front there, they want him in your space with your daughters. They want to pretend to children that sex change is easy. It's just a random choice. And that gender identity is fixed. So, for those hard of thinking, no women have penises. No women have penises. No men have vaginas. There is no such thing as a trans child. There's a young woman, old woman down there. I think she might be old because she's got grey hair. So there's an old woman down there, older, that's not being sexist, with a giant bloke in a skirt. But
There's an older woman down there, and she's preaching like she's in church because this is the new religion. This is the new cult. This is a quasi-religious, dogmatic cult. At least Scientology didn't cut your children up. Right, who's next?
You gotta make a pretty strong case. Is anybody satisfied with the gender binary? I don't know a lot of women who are satisfied with the gender binary.
If you can.
I know a handful of men who are pretty dissatisfied.
Hello, humans. Hello, humans. Hello, humans. Can you hear me? I'm going to start off with a song. We don't need no affirmation. We don't need no affirmation. We don't need no affirmation. We don't need pronoun control. No pervy men in our bathroom.
We don't belong there.
All in all, you're just some perv on the pole. I missed the line, never mind. All right, the truth will win out. The truth will win out. We are here with the trees and the sky. We are here with the rivers and nature and biology and science. And they are there with the constructed story. Constructed story. They want to go back to 1952 when boys had to wear blue and girls could only play with dolls that were made by men. No! I'm going to tell you how I peaked. I saw a video of a detransitioner. A detransitioner. Female to male, back to female. Her body is so butchered. Her body is so butchered that she cannot feel anything but pain in her double mastectomy scars. She cannot have an orgasm. You are taking joy out of the life of children. Recently, Yale University said that they are treating trans children as young as 3 years old.
Trans kids deserve love.
Children cannot consent. This is about consent. You are taking away women's consent. Your expression stops at my oppression. You cannot tell me to go home. The last people who told me to go home said go back to Pakistan, go back to Mexico. They said go back to Iran and Iraq and every other fucking place we had war with. I am home. I am home. I am a woman. I will fight for my sex-based rights. And I will hold the line for Title IX. So, we don't need your affirmation. We don't need pronoun control. No weirdo men in our bathroom. Hey, first, leave all of us alone. They've got vulnerable girls down there, and a massive bloke. You can see his penis. You can literally see his penis.
I'm not saying that's any hero. He's wearing tight trousers, calling himself a woman, and you can literally see his penis. I mean, Jesus Christ!
I'm so sorry, wait a minute. You literally what?
I'm gonna preach! I'm gonna preach! I'm gonna preach! Okay, I've got a very cool accent, thank you so much.
It's not.
Right, so let's do intellectual trigger here. Women don't have penises.
It's no more polite because you can't really
That little vulnerable girl who just spoke to me, calling herself a him, is a girl and will grow up to be a woman. And it doesn't matter if she has her breast lights off. It doesn't matter what she calls herself. When it comes to how at risk she has male violence, she's just as much at risk as the girls with their Barbie hair and their makeup and their eyeshadow. Anyway, that woman is insane. So, women don't have penises. Men don't have vaginas. There is no such thing as non-binary. And there is no such thing as a trans kid. A trans kid is a child being dragged into being a medical patient for life. Right there.
Just don't be deep dive,
Just like that. I got it. Thank you. I don't know. I can't even really hear myself. Philadelphia is a great place to demonstrate the colonization of the female body. As a city, it is incredibly symbolic, and the land we stand on was once populated by the Lenni Lenape. William Penn called them the Delaware, but this was a name given to them by the colonizers. Transgenderism is the colonization of the female body. We can no longer name ourselves. We have been relabeled as menstruators or uterus havers because that is how they see us, as parts that can be consumed, bought, sold, purchased, emulated, loved, sexualized, dehumanized. That is what every female knows, even the one standing over there, mistakenly yelling at his sister. You are not the colonizers, but their foot soldiers, caught up with a social contagion born of the internet, big pharma, and big tech.
Like, do you even hear yourself? You're over there spouting about what kids think. Why don't you ask the kids?
I'm not listening to ugly men.
You're talking about what the kids think. How the kids do what the kids can do. Where they at?
I know it's not.
Where they at? Because I'm right here.
In the early 90s, Martine Rothblatt, Billy Spry, Susan Stryker, no, these are all female names, but these are men, wrote the ex-military. Joanne Roberts and a few others contributed to a document called the International Bill of Gender Rights. This is a document that is used in all trans legislation now, including language used by the UN. To my lost fellow travelers out there, you are doing the bidding of a class you claim to hate, rich white men. Stop and think about the Lenni Lenape and how they couldn't name themselves, but are still remembered as colonized and oppressed. That is the side of women who will not be colonized or erased from law. If you cannot define the word women, you cannot protect us. We stand in the symbolic city today to witness the free speech of women, and you cannot stop us.
I'm cisgender, but even I understand. Why the fuck can't y'all?
Sisters, I want to say, I am a woman.
Get it on camera. This is what trans
I am an adult human female. I'm a mother of 2 sons, and I guarantee you they have penises. And I'm the grandmother of 2 grandsons, and I guarantee you they have penises too.
Because I am proud of who I am.
I'm a Philadelphian. I am home. I'm home in a country that still protects my right to speak in a public place and assert my beliefs. In the words of Maya Angelou, I am a feminist since the 1970s. I am an adult human being. I'm a feminist because I've been a woman, a female, for a very long time. It would be stupid not to be on my own side. I want to say how proud I am to be part of this remarkably diverse group of women. We are all ages, all color, all sexual orientations, I'll assume, nonpartisan, a comprehensive, all-inclusive group of women, and a few men, thank you very much. Adult human females. I'm a lawyer, and what brought me out of retirement was having to deal with pernicious, insidious gender identity ideology. It was learning that there were men in women's prison cells. It was learning that children were being medicalized. It was learning that women's rights across the board were being eroded by substitution in some places of the words gender identity or gender expression for sex. And I'm going to tell you right now, we are protected by law. We have sex-based rights in our law. Our job is to make sure that the law does not change. Right? That's our job. So as bad as it seems sometimes, and as crazy as some of these lunatics are, the fact is, the law still says we are protected on the basis of our sex. Know this, that we are protected. There are lawyers, there are organizations that are working to protect you and me, and they're making progress. And so I want to say that as crazy as this seems, we are actually making progress. Slowly but surely, one case at a time, small victories, but we are. And one of the most important ones is speech. Last week, an important case was decided in California, protecting the rights of an organization to say, women only. Women only. So know that it's going to take effort, and know that it's going to take participation, support litigation when you're asked. The best thing you can do is to follow the people who are doing the case. That's all I can say. This turn. We'll be strong.
There is a man, the voice you may be able to hear screaming is a young boy who's been gaslit by his autogynephile father, who claims that he's a woman, claims that he's his mother. God knows what the mother is actually doing. I would imagine she divorced that sad piece of shit a long time ago. But this is it. AGPs, like fetishy, pervy men, they gaslight their children, they gaslight their wives, and they just tell everybody that they're the victims. No man that walks around in a bad wig and makeup is a victim. No one. Not a single one of them. And then there's a girl down there who's obviously had a breast cut off or a binder trying to tell everyone that she's a man. Absolutely just insane. Anybody walking past who just has a look at this and sees women on one side, older women, like most of us on this side of the debate, are like 40 years or older. And do you know why? Because we understand what a fucking woman is. Okay, who's next?
This is twice days come. This is more people that can get.
We'll come every day of the fucking week.
We're women all day, every day.
You need to go back to your side of the fucking bathroom. Keep your penis out of women's places.
The country lost the war, remember? That's how we got freedom to begin with. They couldn't control us then.
Hello, everyone. I'm standing here on Independence Hall to tell the world that men are
It's not women. It's a pretty crazy thing to have to say, but it's something our president, our vice president, our governor-elect, our mayor, one of our U.S. senators, and our current lieutenant governor and U.S. senator-elect need to hear. If all of this is overwhelming, it should be. We keep electing people who don't believe that sex is real or that women deserve anything other than shared spaces with men and relabeling as cis women or bodies with.
Kay Yang, can you hear me? Can you turn on sound for yours? I can't hear you. Hold on. Hold on.
Brotherhood to have abortions and sometimes these safe spaces away from men. The speech I plan to give today was about the nature of reality and the impossibility of becoming something one isn't through the power of magical thinking. But a close friend reminded me that people who are actually listening to me already know that. The brave women who are here in the
Oops.
Dialpad's AI sales has completely transformed how we sell. AI is built writing, life coaching, speed dialing. Put it back on and get on the table.
backlash. That message is, do you really think you will become the first person in history who is smiled upon in the long term for going along with a terrible idea? Although the current attack on reality is certainly unique in being so bizarre and seeming to come on so suddenly, humans have had terrible ideas before. Slavery, eugenics, and racial ideas. The minute each of these very bad ideas became unpopular, people who had supported them rushed to cover their tracks. They did. I urge you to spare yourself the humiliation of having to realize that gender identity, was all a lot of bollocks. Thank you.
Okay, so cold.
Hey, it's so bloody cold. It's so cold. So thank you all for standing in the freezing cold. And who else would like to talk?
I didn't have anyone be able to hear me, so I brought a public records request by CTV revealed that $16 million has spent $16 million to medically transition our children. State policy for Medicare to change state policy for Medicare to cover double mastectomies and experimental
few of us visited CHOP yesterday, which is the Children's Hospital in Pennsylvania, to drop packets from our duty to gender-affirming resistance. We're letting them know that we're here, we're watching them, we aren't going anywhere. And if you're in PA and you're a taxpayer, and you don't know that your taxes are paying for this, paying for burial to mutilate their bodies, you should be very alarmed.
Linda Hawkins is the founder of CHOP.
Linda Hawkins is the co-founder of CHOP.
Secured 100% rate.
CHOP Gender Clinic secured 100% rate of insurance coverage for puberty blockers with the help of our governor, Governor Wolf, and Dr. Levine. From 2015 to 2021, Pennsylvania saw a 5,000% increase in spending on gender-affirming care for minors under 18. Linda Hawkins and Nadia Dowson started the CHOP Gender Clinic in 2015. Gender care, that's no coincidence. Gender care is a marketed corporate business, especially here in Pennsylvania. Philadelphia has the highest growth rate of transgender individuals in the U.S. since 2020. So Samantha King is CHOP's gender program and education specialist. She has trained 835 trainers on how to be better allies, administrators on how to be better allies, and indoctrination. This is clear indoctrination. Planned Parenthood is the second largest supplier of contact chloride in the U.S. Their campaign donations for mostly Democrats were $45 million in 2020 and $50 million this year. That's from Planned Parenthood. Always following the money. Always following the money. Always politicians and veterans has a new ritual. Planned Parenthood has a new revenue stream. They want to make sure that they keep it from Democratic politicians with enormous amounts of funding. These politicians must understand that families are being destroyed, young bodies are being mutilated, and the public is being manipulated. I hope that by having these figures cornered and growing our numbers, the world will not being ignored and the world will listen as we speak.
those groomers want is mutilated kids. A child AGB it's finish. That's all they want for the kids. They don't care. Side gaslighting the kids. He doesn't give a shit about children. Otherwise, he wouldn't have pretended to be a woman. Grooming kids into mutilating their bodies. Grooming children into mutilating their bodies. Grooming children into mutilating their bodies. These are so disgusting. She's talking about children's genitals as if it's not absolutely disgusting pedophilic nonsense to sever the development of children's genitals. These people are fucking insane.
I am so honored to be here with all these strong ladies. In my 51 years, I have never felt the fear that I feel right now for the young women that believe that men that put on a wig and a dress are now women somehow. I understand how people feel inside, but I wasn't sexually assaulted because I felt like a woman. I have not been degraded and humiliated, and because I felt like I was a woman, I was sexually assaulted and overcome and overwhelmed because I am a woman. And for somebody to say that they could be like me, I reject it. That is insane. We are teaching our children insanity. It is insane to think that you are born in the wrong body. It is insane to cut off the penises and castrate our gay and lesbian youth. That is what is happening. They are cutting off the genitals of our LGBT youth. I care about our children. These people do not. They care about themselves. They care about how they feel inside. This is insanity. I stand with women. I stand with the men that know what women are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Because we know what an orgasm is. And we want others to experience the same joy. And they will not when their puberty blockers and their dicks are cut off. When you get your vagina scooped out and you think that you're going to have an orgasm, please.
We wouldn't have all this.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is this good? Okay. I'm terrified right now, and not because of them. I'd say most of my adolescent age like so I'm going to do this. I used to be one of them. I spent most of my adolescence and teenage years online. I went to that time where I was ultimately groomed and indoctrinated into the gender core. If you would have asked me about my gender when I was 15, I would have told you that I was pansexual, gender fluid, demi-boy, and used he, they pronouns. At one point, I even requested my minuscule online following use male pronouns for my name. I would say that I didn't feel like a girl. If being a girl didn't resonate with my scared of being a gender-proven different boy man. To me, being partially a boy explained my alternative aesthetic and gendered or non-conforming behavior. My view of girlhood and womanhood was narrow and sexist. The girl only felt that for a white short hair, all I wanted to see and hear. So thankfully, one thing evident in reality was the age-old gender mantra that sex and gender are different. During the mental sex and gender became my delusion, and I always was a little different. No matter which way I diced it, I was always getting through. No matter which way I diced it, I was always getting through. I was in my junior year of college and I was Keane trans, and I dedicate that moment to Magdalene Burns and the now defunct gender critical subreddit. May they both rest in peace. Alok is just a man. I was actually watching a video of Magdalene's on Trans Icon, a local non-many place. Magdalene played simply. Alok is just a man who likes makeup and dresses. There's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't make him any less of a man. Sex and gender are different. A man is simply a male. Implies nothing more than the sex of the human it describes. The word woman implies nothing more than the sex it describes. There is no single way to be a man or a woman, and no amount of hormone surgery or medical manipulation my moment of clarity was indescribable. Like a despite my cognitive dissonance, I found myself playing with Magdalene. For their own admission, sex and gender are different. This distinction matters when it comes to safeguarding women and children as well as their rights in the space. Like these trans women, I have never met a critical one. They really interested can I just say, this woman keeps talking about these men are colonizing womanhood. These parasitical invaders are eating our movements from within. Every space a woman has carved out for herself, these men want to occupy. So all these men down there try to tell women that we have to accept them in our spaces. And very sadly, there's children gaslit on the other side, and there's a load of women who think they're going to earn some sort of sanctuary when those men take over. It doesn't matter how much you get on your knees. And for these men, they're still going to steal your rights. Your dad's a pervert. Your dad's a pervert, love. Your dad's an AGP pervert. Your dad is a pervert. Your dad's okay. Let me just say before we continue, we can see your penis, love. Women don't have penises. Women don't have penises. Men don't have vaginas. All those people have lies about me, lies about their motivations. Every single one of those men with their pretty makeup and that bad wig. They just want to get their penis out in spaces that we don't want them. That's essentially what they want to do. They want to take their genitals and they want to shove them metaphorically and actually in women's faces and faces. So, I am old enough to remember 50 years ago when women fought for actual women's rights. And if you would ask me 50 years ago that today we would be asking what a woman is, I said you're crazy. But yet, here we are. Today, we tell children that they're born in the wrong bodies. I do not want our young children, girls especially, to grow up knowing what they are. They are women. Girls grow up to be women. You can't change your sex and expect
Keane openly supports Tommy Robinson, who is the leader of the
Yes, remember, sexism. Do we all forget about what sexism is? It's a discrimination on the basis of one's sex, not one's gender. You can't fight a patriarchy if you don't acknowledge a matriarchy. There is no such thing as girl power or black girl magic if you can't define what a girl is. You can't even stop period shaming unless you recognize that these fights are exclusive to female-bodied individuals. You cannot fight for women's reproductive rights unless you recognize and acknowledge that women's bodies are different from male bodies, and that the two are not interchangeable. Stop with the dehumanizing language. We are not menstruators, or uterus havers, or clears, or breeders. Stop with that shit. We are women, full stop.
Two seconds. Oh, why are these women keep talking to kids? Hi.
You know what, guys? I've been listening to what you say, and it opens something in my heart. I feel free now to come out as a bisexual woman. If I want sex, I have to buy it.
Anybody else? Where's the lady that keeps I gotta do this now, so I really have to do. Kelly J. Keane, Rosie Parker, it is such an honor to have you. Thank you for doing this. I didn't do that. Look at the abuse this woman gets. Look at the water flowing out of her. And because when we stand in the power, no one can touch us. And she said, where's Thomas? No one can touch us. I turned to her. And she said, you know what? When I stand in my power and I put the bubble wrap and no one can touch it, we must protect that bubble of power, that space. Men are penises. We want to come into things. We like to invade. We like to enter shit. It's true. And if I gotta force my way in, rape us. You're gonna force your way into us. We said no, leave me alone. We're not telling you can't exist. Exist over there in your fucking head. Not here in mine. How far does it go? At what point can I say no? Do I have to let you in my vagina? My boyfriend is a black man locked up in upstate fucking prison. He understands this shit. This isn't like some white versus black. This isn't some Republican versus like liberal shit. Everybody is coming together just to say what's real and what's not. If you will lie about what's in your pants, everybody is coming together just to say what's real and what's not. If you will lie about what's in your
can't hear anything.
Our grandmothers brought us here. We own this land. This is my land. Fuck out of here. My daughters, I'm protecting this space for my children. I'm not going anywhere. You got me all the way from the top. We got I think they told you to leave. They told this woman to go back home. No, we are home. They told me to go back home. Just like they did in Iraq, Contra. Just like they did when we went to Iraq. Just like every time they turn around and see me frown and they're playing with somebody, I'm no longer home. We are home. We are home. And I want to say thank you to Jennifer Thompson. We talked to activists. I want to thank all these women. Thank you to the police rangers. We talked to yesterday, me and Jen. We want to give cookies to the police. We're just like, just protect us. I don't want to be that problem. I said, I'm from County, I'll fucking kill them, okay? So let's not even take it there. Because you want to see us kind of fuck up too. Trust and believe me. I'm not scared of you. Because you know what? Lay a hand on me. I got people one fucking foot at the end of the day. And I like to protect women. Look at these men. They don't want to see their thank you. I see your grandmothers. I see our wives, their daughters, men care about women. And we'll protect them too. Wear the dress. If you're a man and you want to wear the dress, keep your balls in your fucking pants when my daughter comes around. I have 4 children. I have 2 sons and I have 2 daughters. And you've got me all the way fucked up. And you think you're going to follow them into the bathroom. If you think you're going to block their ability to play sports, you got another 4 children that trust me. And I have 2 daughters. You think we don't know how to call whoever we got to call? We're going to make sure your dick stays in your pants. We're going to make sure you keep that shit where the fuck you need to keep it. We are in Philly. This is my city. Who you thought it was, huh? Fuck you thought it was. And now your dick stays in your pants. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how she does it. She's brilliant. She's brilliant. I don't know how you keep the energy. It's amazing. But we're standing. We got it done. Thank you to these people. You don't need to scream too loud. There's a reason they want to drown us out. Their number one mantra is we're not listening. Yeah, we know. Because if people hear us, your shit will fall apart overnight. It's true versus not true. It's the truth versus the non-truth. It takes for itself. At the end of the day, you can come up with all the names you want. You can make all the signs you want. Reality is where you're at. What's reality? We are the granddaughters of the women who survived. It's not all Lincoln or fucking genealogy signs you want. Reality is where you're at. What's reality? We are the granddaughters of the women who survived. Not one Lincoln or fucking genealogy is broken. That's what brought us here. Every woman in our lineage survived for us to be here. And we're not going anywhere. Billy, what's up? Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
I knew it.
Well, I'm Joy. I think. Women don't have penises. No man's has a vagina. There's no such thing as a trans kid. There's no such thing as non-binary. After that giant bloke with a bad black wig, we can see your penis.
for women, I'm not ever going to stop traveling and talking to people. Never stop talking. When I've traveled, I've never been to a church protest that is all screaming offensive things at me. That is swearing at people and screaming abuse. The people that care about children don't seem to care about them very much. That's my point. When we went to protest Will Thomas, women in the NCAA women's championship, we were not screaming expletives. We did not require a police guard. We were not escorted out of the building because we know how to behave as respectful adults. We know how to let people speak, we know how to disagree, and we know how to do it without being violent like the TRAs over there. I want to say thank you to all the women here. I'm so happy you're here. The fact that we have to be here freezing cold, just teaching medication is how important it is.
What's the son of this now? It is not duty to say
today. Thank you for showing up, for watching us, and spreading the message, for continuing to talk. Never stop talking. We need to keep it up. And there are people who cannot talk. Vulnerable women in prison, vulnerable women in relationships that are abusive, and children. They need us to keep talking, and I will never stop. So thank you, everyone who's come out today. The women at home, never stop talking. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, she's so cute.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
All right, I'm a man, so you might be able to know this. I'm a man, so anything you want to do, I will do this. On action. All people, play music, go places. Make it happen. I don't want to be over here playing. So let's all keep the fight going. That's all I'm saying.
I identify as I think if I turn myself often enough, the temperature of the earth will somehow climb and we'll all be warm, standing in the turkey sunshine, because even this atheist knows God loves a turf. Okay, so we came here to say some shit today. We came here to say women don't have penises. We came here to say no man has a vagina. We came here to say there is no such thing as a trans child. And we came here to say there is no such thing as non-binary. Those women really is a trans thing, is it? I don't think so. Right. What we want every woman to understand is that women are a constituency. We are half the world. We will not surrender one space more, one word more, one action more, one body more. There is not a single sacrifice that I am willing to make on behalf of this nasty, pernicious, ideological cult. Illustrated perfectly by the bloke showing his penis while telling his son that that's his mother. It couldn't be more obvious. Now, if we stand with each other and we get rid of all that divides us, women, we will win. If we rely upon the truth and we stand firm upon its soul, then I promise we will win. And do you know what else we're going to win? I never win! We'll be back again and again.
Make sure you get that.
All right. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. That was a good one today. Thank you, Stephen, so much for this. Keep up the good fight. We will never lose, indeed. So we're gonna keep this background going as we watch them close up shop. This was such a great event today. Isn't it nice when the police do their job? I love that. Seeing these barricades. This is hopefully what we're expecting tomorrow in NYC. We're hoping to see some of these fences, keeping the counter protesters separate from us. I love their security out there today. This is what we're hoping for tomorrow. It is insane that we have to raise money for security for these events, but we have done just that. I do want to thank right now, since so many of you are with us, I want to really just say how very grateful I am for everyone. Oops, this is not what I wanted to put up. Where is it? I wanted to thank everyone who has donated for our campaign. We have exceeded our funds. For the New York event, we spent a little over $1,900 for security. You helped make that happen. So we were able to put out that funds in thanks to your support and your participation. So we really thank you for that. We've covered all of the costs of our equipment. Thank you, Sophie, so much. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Sophie.
We've covered the costs of our equipment. We've covered the miscellaneous travel, extraneous travel costs that we had. So I appreciate you all so much.
Oh, it's Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Jen, can you hear us?
So I'm gonna bye. Are we saying goodbye? Okay, bye.
You can either way.
No, talk to us.
Can you
No,
talk
don't
to us?
leave.
Give us your.
Talk
Can you
to
give us?
us.
No.
Okay, never mind.
It's so
It's really loud there, so she
it's
can't
so
hear.
loud out there. But I do want to say we've been able to cover every single cost that we had. You have helped us cover it and more. And we want to just let you know that the overages that you have been so generous with us with will go back into our activism. We are planning on making some more media with what basically making media with all of the footage that we have collected over this entire tour. So we want to, we're not a documentary. Obviously KJK has that covered. She's got the documentary covered. But we want to really utilize the media and the conversations, the conversations that we've had here in the chat, and do the most with them. So we thank you for that extra funding. And I just want you to know that we are going to really be smart with how we use those extra funds. And I just appreciate it so much.
Yeah, that's right. I just quickly will echo that. Thank you to everyone for all of your support, all the donations, coming, being on this channel, being in the live chat, talking to one another. I know we're all coming from different places. We've got different beliefs, different insights, different views into what goes on in the world. So I know it's difficult when we come together and try to be in these spaces with one another, but that's not good. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that we're going to stop coming together, even when we don't agree on everything, because there are certain things that we do agree about, and it's child safeguarding and sex-based rights for women and girls. Let's continue to focus on our broader overarching goals, and let's not get divided. There are so many things trying to divide us right now and split up this burgeoning movement. So just keep your mind on the goals and on the bigger picture. Stay focused. We are going to be on the ground in New York City tomorrow. We're really excited to be there. I'm excited for everyone, that all the New Yorkers that are going to be standing up, and all of the women that are coming from all across the country to stand with us in New York. It's going to be quite a little showdown, because in Philly, they've got a lot more room there. where they are, and we're not going to have quite as much room. So we might be more packed in with these people. So please make sure you tune in tomorrow to witness what happens at the New York City Hall. New York City, like Philly, has a big, quote, Antifa scene. They have been posting and communicating across cities saying that they're going to be at every stop along the way to shut us down. And I'm saying they're not going to shut us down. They're not going to silence us. No way. Madeline, yay, that's exciting that you're coming to New York City. Madeline and anyone else who wants to come to New York City, email me at the Deprogrammer at protonmail.com as soon as you can so that we can connect to make sure that you know all the details and what's going on. The event is tomorrow, 1 p.m. in front of the New York City the New York City
Deprogrammer, the Deprogrammer at protonmail.com.
Yes. So we're going to be in front of the New York City Hall, right in front of the mayor's office and the Department of Education. But I don't want to get too much into that right now because I want to say thank you to all of the women who organized the Philly event.
Yeah.
Connie Hahn, amazing job. Jen Thomas, thank you so much for everything that you always do running around. Jen's like the boots on the ground, run from here to there. Connie is more behind the scenes, coordinating things and working with parents. Then, of course, we have the wonderful Jessica Gonzalez, our dear friend from Turf Collective. And I know that there were a lot of other people that were involved in making this event happen. So thank you to all of them. You just witnessed women be surrounded by angry men on microphones saying, "You are nothing. You are nothing and go home." That's what they had to say to these brave women who stood out there. And thank you all for being here. I'm here seeing comments here in the chat. Zane says Philly was fantastic.
I want to really give a shout out. There's one more day of this tour. We've got final stop is tomorrow. So this has been an incredible. I keep losing count. Is this an 11 city tour?
I think this is number 11, or tomorrow will be number 11. Today's
an 11 city national tour, and I really want to give a shout out to all of the American women who have been organizing behind the scenes. We, of course, are doing this work to help promote Kelly J. Keane, to help promote her brand, to help promote her message, to help promote her documentary. I think this documentary is going to be an incredible piece of history and documentation of what women have been doing in this country. So I'm so proud to have been a part of it and to help promote it. It's really incredible, but I also want to thank all of the American women, the United States women who have organized in their own cities, who have gotten the permits, who have contacted the police, who have gotten security, who have organized and been in communication, inviting women to come, amplifying this message. This is a collective effort. And I really want to keep underscoring that this is a collective effort. And those of you in this chat are included. You know, so many of you in this chat have been to other cities and spoken in public in the other cities. Then you continue to come in this chat and participate and be with us. You have continued to amplify, share this message, share this on your social media, spread these stories. This is so important. The location for tomorrow is public. It is on the sidewalk in front of the City Hall, roughly about it's City Hall at Broadway and Murray. The event starts at 1 o'clock. The live stream is going to start at 12:30 Eastern time. So those of you on the live can tune in tomorrow. We will be having some guest hosts with you tomorrow. So Kay Yang and I will be on the ground. We will be giving our speeches from the ground. So you will not hear so much pontificating from us in the stream, but we have some amazing guest hosts for you that we have lined up to be with you. They will will be familiar faces to you, I am sure. So you will see them in the live stream tomorrow.
Yep, absolutely. So we also, okay, so a few things. Since tomorrow we're going to be on the ground in New York City, I am getting ready to leave my house right now as soon as this stream is over. I don't know how long Amy's going to leave the show on. She might do some call-ins after I go. I don't know, because she's also on a tight timeline. Where everything's in flux right now, just buttoning things up for tomorrow so that we can have the safest and most effective event. I did pick up a special guest last night from the airport. Should I introduce her? You already know her name.
Yeah, you should.
All right.
Don't sit in a little chair.
All right, here we are, sisters. Let's get this party going.
Look, she's taller than me.
It's the best haircut in perfdom.
Yes, I know. This
She's
is
in the
fantastic.
driver's seat now.
I absolutely love this. I feel taller. I probably look taller, which is exactly what I want. Yeah.
You actually look small in my big chair.
You look like a tiny child.
I've got her car seat ready too. Don't worry.
Okay, so if you don't,
I hope it's one of the 5
who said, "Who is this ray of sunshine?" Come on, I'm Jeanette from Partners for Ethical Care. If you watch the TRA accounts, you can learn a lot about me and what I do at Partners for Ethical Care and what we all do at Partners for Ethical Care, which is focus on stopping the gender industry and that psychological and physical transition of children. So that's what we're focused on. We want to raise awareness. We want to support the efforts that are going on to stop this psychological really torture of children and the abuse that's happening by the state, by parents, by all kinds of people who are deluded by the gender industry into thinking that this is going to solve their children's problems. It's not going to solve their problems. We need supportive adults and lots of women around children helping them to grow, helping them to grow into sisterhood. The young women who have been deluded by this whole industry and taught that there's something wrong with them and that removing their breasts and injecting themselves with testosterone is somehow going to solve their problems. Those girls, those young women, those are our sisters. They are welcome into our sisterhood, and we need to create the welcome mat that brings them home. So that's what we want to do at the event in New York City. We want to create that space. We want to talk to those young women and say, this is your sisterhood. You are welcome with us. You should come to us. We want you to understand that you are perfect just the way you are. Your body is not a series of parts that you add up and that makes you a woman. You will continue to be a woman from birth until death. You will be a woman from your conception onward. And so you are welcome into our sisterhood, no matter how many body parts you have, no matter what your voice sounds like, how much hair you have on your body, you are part of our sisterhood. That's what you're going to hear from me, and you're going to hear from other women. We're going to talk about the vision that we see of sisterhood. And hopefully you can join us either on the live stream or in person.
Yeah, I thank you, Jeanette, so much. And I love what Jeanette just said. We are sharing our vision of that which we wish to see. So much of this activism is a fight against that which we are critical of, that which is bringing harm upon women and children. But alongside this fight, we must vision in that which we wish to see. We must offer a vision for our students and young people and our fellow women to cling to. We must offer a direction. We cannot dismantle what is harmful without offering something at the same time. So in our speeches tomorrow, you are going to hear so many of us visioning in that which we wish to see. We are building a new foundation. We are seeding new growth. We are telling a new story, one that is nourishing, one that is strengthening, one that is building internal integrity, emotional equilibrium, mental and psychological health for our young people and for ourselves.
And like Jeanette was saying, we have to build room for women from quote unquote the other side. As you know, I myself come directly from the other side. And now I've been able to build relationships, strong relationships with women like Jeanette, with women like Amy, and other incredible women in this movement. I've been able to raise my voice and get out there and start exposing what I witnessed from the inside out. My presence here is hopefully to create room for other women to come forward and say, I was involved in something and it wasn't right. And to come forward and to have integrity and to speak up and speak out on it now before it's too late. Because so many children have already been irreparably damaged from the medicalization on their healthy bodies in the name of gender identity. And we cannot allow this to go on. There is this agenda is at play on our local level, at the state level, at the federal level, and this is being pushed by international governing bodies. And I will not let that go, because that when we keep on focusing on the bigger picture and pointing the finger up and up, that's how we can find common enemies and stop being divided. Right? Let's find our common enemies, because they know who we are and they've got a full plan and a full agenda. It's fully exposed. It's online, tens of thousands of documents and papers talking about their plan to essentially indoctrinate the children of the entire world to this agenda. So this is not just about what happens here in America or what happens in the UK. This is about what's happening everywhere. And there are vulnerable women in parts of the world where they don't even have so-called rights for women. Okay, they don't even have private bathrooms. They don't have spaces where women can be safe from rape, even in their own homes. Okay, so we are using our platforms and our voices and the privilege that we do have as American women to speak up on this issue now. We are sounding the alarm. Women and girls all over the world are being and will be impacted by this issue.
When there's a legislator, I talked to a legislator in Louisiana, I think earlier in April, and he said, I think that maybe, the bill might not really move this year, so I'm thinking maybe next year. And I said, oh, sure. Do you know how many young girls are going to have their breasts removed at your children's hospitals over the next year? Because I think it's pretty important to do now. There is no time that is better to do the right thing than right now.
That's right.
Than right now. And it's it's individual conversations that all of you are having and need to continue to have. I will say this morning I met with a mom here, and we had a lovely breakfast, all of us together. It was nice. And I've known her from an online parent group that I'm in, and testosterone is slowly harming her daughter. It is absolutely awful. And her daughter has been sold this lie that testosterone is going to make her life completely better, and everybody is feeding it to her. What's super fascinating is there's actually a local bank that offers her a low interest loan to pay for her transition.
It's actually my federal credit union.
that she can get that, and then she can walk just a few steps over to Planned Parenthood to get her testosterone shots. Isn't that fantastic? And look how that industry works. Banking, the Planned Parenthood, right there. Everything is right there. She has a Medicaid subsidized housing because she's part of a trans identified population that gives free housing. You're welcome so much. So
if you need help with your rent, all you have to do is identify as trans.
You can get anything.
Insane.
And that's the thing. There's nothing that you need to do to be trans. You just have to say that you are. Unfortunately, the rest of us who live in reality actually wish to tell the truth and truly be authentic, and we're not scared to do it anymore.
No.
That's the nice thing, that when you start to meet other people who believe these same things, you get the sense of courage. And that's the thing that will propel you into conversations. We have parents that I talk to all the time that say, I decided to just talk to one person and they agree with me. And then 6 months months later, they go, oh my gosh, my entire neighborhood, I've talked to them and they all agree with me. They all think that this is crazy. They're just too scared to say anything. And that's how change happens, because one person opens their mouth and decides, I'm going to take a chance and see what happens. And sometimes, for sure, they get verbally slapped in the face. Yeah. And guess what? They get back up and they keep talking, because children during this entire period are growing. Mm-hmm. They're going through this entire system. We have to shut down the factory that is making trans kids. Mm-hmm. It needs to stop. They're manufacturing this entire thing. They're manufacturing mm-hmm. problems in children that children didn't even have in the mm-hmm. first place. They're creating new problems. Children have enough problems. We already have enough issues in our society. We don't need to create new manufactured crises for children to solve.
And remember, the entire concept of a so-called trans kid is very, very new. 10 years ago, when I worked at the LGBT Center, children were not trans, okay? Yes, there were teenagers who were identifying as trans, and we were pushing this on them, but there was nothing like you see now. You'd never heard of a trans kid in the media before, never. Now you can't walk down the street without seeing a trans child or a child that is clearly being groomed. And the grooming is not just happening in the schools. It's also happening within people's own homes, not just from the Netflix and the TV screens and social media, but it's even coming from parents now, parents who have been indoctrinated into this ideology. Just like when I was indoctrinating children, I was grooming them. I was a groomer, but I didn't know that I was a groomer because I had been groomed to be a groomer. So this is what's happening now. We have an entire generation of people who have already been groomed to groom. And that's why you see so much of this happening in the school systems.
But I will say, the other thing that we forget is that children are actually quite strong. Mm-hmm. They're actually quite smart. So the idea of liberating them instead of disabling them, stopping them from building their own psychological, emotional, and physical muscles by allowing them to struggle a little bit, and then they grow from that. So what we see in affirming parents is that they cannot cope with witnessing their child in any sort of distress, mm-hmm. right? Psychologists, therapists, doctors, all kinds of adults who are supposed to be kind of like walking alongside a child as they kind of have to stop along the path, take a minute, take a deep breath, and figure out which way to go and mm-hmm. how they can maneuver themselves through their next step in life. Mm-hmm. Those people are actually picking them up and carrying them, leaving their muscles completely atrophied. Mm-hmm. They are not growing in ways that a normal child would actually just grow, and they would develop all of these coping skills. Mm-hmm. And what we're going to see is when the gender industry falls, we're going mm-hmm. to see children actually be able to cope. Like, children can cope with hearing their birth name. My daughter, if she hears her birth name, she won't die. I'm absolutely certain, which is why I use her birth name. And children can cope. They can. They're not starving. Okay.
And
we know what actual neglect, actual abuse is. Yeah. This is not it. This is not it. Children will be so much happier and better in the long term if we allow them these periods of growth and development.
Mm-hmm. Well, and kids need healthy boundaries. Hearing the word no is a healthy part of childhood development. And kids, here's the thing, kids cannot learn to have appropriate boundaries and appropriate bodily autonomy unless it is modeled for them by the adults around them. Mm-hmm. So the adults who are setting a boundary and saying, no, your body is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with your body. No, this is healthful. This is instilling in kids a true sense of boundary. You know, you are not a boundless, nebulous mind in a meat suit. You are not a ghost in a machine. You are whole. You are bounded. Your body is your own boundary. You need to claim it even when it is uncomfortable. And by learning, by having this modeled for them and instilled by the adults around them, this in fact creates healthy bodily autonomy. But when we tell kids, you can't trust your body is not your own, you were born in the wrong body, you know, how can they have a strong sense of bodily autonomy and integrity and boundaries when they literally don't believe in the literal boundaries of their own body? This is part of the cognitive dissonance that's being instilled in kids. These two things are not compatible. This ideology is not compatible with child safeguarding, and adults in the room stepping up and giving a gentle but firm boundary is part of health, instilling health. Just like, you know, like a baby, you know, eventually, not an infant per se, but, you know, as your baby turns into, you know, 1-2 years old, there are processes of self-soothing. There are processes of instilling in kids mechanisms that they can help themselves go through moments of uncomfortability. Teaching kids that they can basically avoid mental uncomfortability by grappling with the physical uncomfortability of mutilating their bodies. That's very bizarre and is, again, in itself a cognitive dissonance, because when you try to cure a mental issue like body dissociation, body dysmorphia, body dysphoria, by actually attacking the body with breast binding, mutilizations, drugs that are uncomfortable, it is associating a mental authenticity with physical pain. So then their body is no longer an accurate guidance system keeping them safe. Their body is no longer a trustworthy environment for them to be in. It's very harmful.
This is what's helpful about kind of women talking to each other in this space and other spaces, because what we see when we talk to each other is somebody had commented, and I highlighted the comment, that there's a lot of empathy kind of in this space right now. That's because we actually remember this, right? If I'm on the street, like I was on the street with Billboard Chris, and I'm talking to young women who said, you know, did you love it when you started growing breasts? Was that like your biggest dream, is to get your period? Like, no, that was nobody's biggest dream, really. And yeah, it's all kind of uncomfortable. And guess what? You kind of get used to this body that is you. And it's kind of interesting and cool and scary and all of those things. And all of those emotions are part of the human experience. And children should be having a full human experience. That includes things like happiness, but that shouldn't be happening all the time. That's unnatural. That's not a human thing to be happy all the time. What is human is to have a range of emotions, a range of feelings, a range of ideas, and all of that. And then to come together, to hear other people, to talk to other sisters and say, hey, you know, this is how I'm feeling. Oh my gosh, I felt that way too. Like, what's going on with you? Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, that's really, it's such a nice feeling to talk to another person, especially another female, and to say, hey, I've had this experience, and to feel like you're not alone. That's what we create in the parent group that I run. And it's really awesome to watch a new parent kind of come into that group and be like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who thought this. I thought I was the only one who felt this way. And the answer is, you're not. You're never the only one who feels. I can guarantee you are never the only one who feels this way. The question is, what do you do with that feeling? Your feeling is going to come, that feeling of uncomfortable, whatever that is. That doesn't mean unsafe. That simply means uncomfortable. Yes, you're going to be uncomfortable. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? And so children are given this option is, oh, if you're uncomfortable, get rid of that immediately. You need to immediately get rid of that. Do anything that you can. If you're hungry, just keep having chocolate bars until you're not hungry anymore. Nobody tells you that you're going to vomit later. Nobody's telling you that. They just keep shoving chocolate bars down your face. And that is the gender industry. That's what they're doing. So yes, you can go on testosterone. You're going to feel fantastic for a while, because you're on steroids. You're on
Yeah,
Schedule 3
seriously,
steroids.
it's a drug.
Yeah, it's a drug. It's made that way. Of course, some of its side effects help with anxiety. Sure, you're going to feel good for a minute. Yeah, sure. And after I have 3 beers, I feel good. And then I feel like shit.
Mhm.
So it's not a solution, a long-term solution to what are really deep problems. And there are many kind of, I say, a web of support that needs to happen around all kinds of people. It needs to happen around parents who feel like their only choice is to affirm, around children who they feel like their only choice is to say, I'm trans. All kinds of people who are saying, I feel like I can't do anything because I'm going to get fired. There are so many ways that we can kind of support all of those people, including children, to make sure that the feeling that they have inside that Amy talks about, that kind of intuition, that feeling that they have, that they can actually act on it. And it gets rid of that deep anxiety, that deep kind of feeling like I'm doing something that I don't feel comfortable with.
Mhm.
And it liberates them. The idea of boundaries versus liberation is fascinating. I've written about that because the idea that children should be liberated to have this idea that there's all kinds of things that they can do. Yes, but if you give any person complete freedom, it is absolutely overwhelming. It is absolutely overwhelming. Nobody likes to go into the grocery store where you have 37 choices of vegetable oil. It's too much. You can't handle something like that. And that's what happens when we give children no boundaries.
Mhm.
They don't have any idea where the wall is. They're walking around with their eyes closed in the dark, and they're reaching and they're not finding anything. It is scary.
And
And
someone's
all
saying in the
visible-
chat, it's overwhelming even as an adult. And that's true. And there are women who have written about their experiences in the past, like in Germany when Kinderladens were very popular, when they were basically having they were experimental, quote, anti-authoritarian homeschools where children were being taught inappropriate sexual content. They were being involved in sexual activity with adults. And this was, again, all being sold under the guise of child liberation. And the women who experienced living in these Kinderladens wrote about themselves having no boundaries and having no understanding of boundaries, to the point where they didn't even know how to say no when small male children were reaching their hands up the skirt and pulling on their pubic hair. She did not know how to say no, stop, I don't like that, because she was taught that asserting any boundary whatsoever was anti-liberatory and was against the liberation of the child and the liberation of the human. I wonder what kind of
It's so insane. It's so insane. Well, and the thing is, going back to children growing up and going through puberty, to grow from an infant into an adult, literally to grow bones is pain. To grow teeth is painful. When infants are cutting teeth, they go through a lot of pain. I've nannied a lot and taken care of a lot of babies as they're going through that process. Should we remove all of their teeth and let them remain gumless for life because we are trying to keep them from going through this painful experience? That's insanity. We know that's insanity. Should we keep their bones from growing and let them not reach adult height because growing actual bones is painful, and so we'll keep their spinal columns and
this actually raises a really good point, Amy, because this in other cultures there are different like the way that trans has become a way for young girls who find discomfort with their body. Trans has become an identity for them in some way that they can manage their body through binders or with mastectomies. So that's what happens here. Now, in other countries, they're like in Cameroon, the response to female puberty, when the breasts start to develop and men start to notice, the response is something called breast ironing. And if you haven't heard about this cruel, heinous practice of breast ironing. This is practiced on these young girls, and it's ritualistically done. And it's actually usually the mother and the grandmother who do this, because it's they call it a preventative measure to keep the girl from being molested and raped by adult pedophile men. So what we see, that's what's happening there. These two things, they seem very different, but they're actually very similar, because this is a response to child sexualization by adult men. Now, here in America, they've found a market for how to respond to that by, okay, these girls can just chop off their breasts.
Well, and the thing is, the assumption inside all of that is that men are incapable of making good choices, right? They're incapable, and I don't believe that. I mean, I certainly don't believe that men or any human being is somehow incapable of making a choice. We are not animals. We have the ability to make good choices, to evaluate things, and to decide what is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And today and every other day after this one, it is never the right idea to remove the breasts of children. It is never the right idea to remove the genitals of children. Mm-hmm. It is never the right idea to remove the possible sexual pleasure of anyone ever. I don't think that's humane. I mean, if we don't believe in kind of solitary confinement, I'm not sure how our society even thinks that it is somehow reasonable, mm-hmm. and somehow healthcare care at all, to be able to stop development and stop growth, as you say, of a child. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure why that is called caring. Mm-hmm. No. I think that it is caring to be able to sit with a person through their struggle, mm-hmm. and to say, I'm not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to sit with you. And I know that you are strong enough to get through this. And I will be here with you until you build those muscles, until you develop those skills. And if you need help in doing that, I can point you in the right direction, but I'm not going to carry you. You are capable.
Absolutely. Radical personal self-responsibility. Okay. Everybody, it's time to step up. Okay. We've got to get out there, and we've got to share our voices, not just online, but in physical space as well. They would be happy if we just stay online, where they can block us and ban us and remove our accounts into oblivion. They would be happy for that. This is exactly why we go out there on the streets, boots on the ground, with our voices, loud, projecting, telling our stories, saying what's being done, being very clear about how wrong this is, because that's what it takes. We need to step up, and we need to have responsibility on the quote other side. A large part of what's going on is these young people are being told, any problems in your life, it's not your fault. There's someone to be blamed for that, whether it's your mom or your dad or your school or the quote cis supremacist society. There's mm-hmm. someone to blame for everything, right? They don't want young people to take responsibility for themselves and to develop into fully embodied human beings, as Amy says. They don't want that. They want weakened people with weak minds, stuck in a victim mentality, always looking for someone to blame. They want that because that is very easy to manipulate and to control.
I want to mention, so I saw something in the chat. So my own mother isn't watching this, but maybe she will later. But there are things that, because I run a parent group, so what we're interested in our parent group is, we know that there are some ways that we grew up as children, and we learned some kind of bad habits in our own kind of traumatized families or family dynamics that were not so healthy. And then we brought those to our own family, and we're learning, of course, as parents, and that's our interest in kind of growing parents and saying, okay, I want to be able to look at myself and say, I don't want to change my child. What I want to change is something around my child, because my child is adapting to an environment and I am part of that environment. So yes, I can agree that there are many parents who have traumatized their child. They have had a situation in their lives that the best option that they had was was whatever one they took, and that caused trauma to their child. But that was the best thing that mom could do at that moment. I am sure that there are many of us who have had that situation. So in our parent group, we have immense compassion for any parent. We have compassion even for affirming parents, because they are doing the best that they can do in that situation at that moment. What we have to do is say, what do we do from now forward? What is the path for growth for those parents? And then how can we help the lifelong relationship between parent and child? Because even though the child is 18, 25, 35, 45, that familial relationship continues on. And the best thing to do is to have growth within that family. And that's something that I love to see happen. I'm not willing to say that my childhood and anything bad that happened in my childhood is going to define me for the rest of my life.
That's right.
And I'm certainly not going to throw my mother under the bus. She was doing the best that she could. So even though lots of us have had bad experiences, I still take responsibility and control of my own life and say, what am I going to do about that?
Yeah. Well, ladies, I want to take a couple of phone calls, and then I think we should end this chat. We're coming on 3.5 hours. I think
because
I want to
miss
go
me,
for,
Amy, because
I do miss you, but I want to see you in person is what I want to do. So
I look bigger in person. On the screen, I look really small.
I want to keep this open for about 15 more minutes. Take any calls that come in. If we get calls, amazing. I'd love to hear women's voices who are in the chat. So feel free to call in. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to close out in 15 minutes no matter what, because I am anxious to
together.
I am anxious to see
I have your cardboard
Yang,
cutout though. We're going to put
Jeanette.
it right over here. No, over your cardboard cutout face.
She identifies as Jennifer and I identify as Amy.
Yeah, we're all I can be multiple people.
Okay, we're getting silly, but silly is good too.
We
need a little bit of laughter because this shit is dark.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
We have to, and that's the other thing. Like when we're out there on the streets, the best.
Hello,
there's somebody here.
Judy, you're on the air. Hey, how are you?
Oh, hey,
number 5. Judy, how are you today?
Oh, it's Judy.
I'm great. It was really cool watching Philadelphia today. That was amazing.
Yeah,
but I wanted to get some advice. So I was at my dog park last night, and I'm in the Bay Area. It's super woke, and I was having a discussion about Title IX and how it got gutted, and women, men in women's prison. And there were about 5 of us, and everybody was kind of staring at me like I was insane. And this one guy, we started talking about gender, and he was saying that sex, not gender, is a spectrum. And I was saying to him, no, like, you know, humans are, there's male and female, that's it. And then of course he brought up intersex, and I was like, okay, well, that's only 0.02% of the population. And he's like, well, that proves that there's a third sex. And I'm like, no. Everybody who's intersex is either one or the other. They just have ambiguous genitalia. And I'm trying to be really calm about it, you know. And he's like, well, I'm a man, and I can tell you that, you know, I have lots of female characteristics. And then they started bringing up, it's the same thing as being gay. And I was stuck. You know, I was like, well, it's not the same thing. You know, you don't, when you're gay, you don't have to have, you don't take medication and get surgeries to prove that you're gay. You don't need outside affirmation. But it was like, you know, that's what they kept pushing on me. It's the same thing as being gay. We need to. So I need advice. What do I do next time?
I would say 2 things. One, of course, the recognition of homosexuality is absolutely dependent on sex. Lesbians are females who are sexually oriented to other females. This is a sexual orientation, not an identity orientation. So it's very homophobic to deny sex. Second of all, what you said about DSD conditions is absolutely accurate. DSD conditions are in fact sex-specific conditions. So there's about 40 known conditions, and they affect either males or females. There aren't conditions conditions that affect both. So of the 40 conditions, these are conditions, some conditions affect males, some conditions affect females. And my little shorthand for talking about DSD conditions is there is no third gamete. So there are eggs, there are sperms, there are bodies that are organized around sperm production or egg production. There is no third gamete. So anytime anyone wants to have a conversation with me about quote unquote other sexes, I just simply will ask, name the third gamete. And then his so-called women characteristics that he was talking about, those are human. If there is a characteristic that is shared by men and women, that simply means it is a human characteristic. There's some characteristics that we have that are mammalian characteristics or animal characteristics. Okay. Animals have sex recognition instincts, all animals, not just humans. That's an animal characteristic.
Amy, we need to know if you have biologist credentials.
Are you a biologist? Because you were just talking about like mammals and...
If not qualified.
I don't know about that.
I did the scientific classification of organisms in the 3rd grade. So I like to tell people that is the language I speak. I speak about organisms according to their form and function. So anything that is a human characteristic, any emotion is a human emotion. Any preference is a human preference. The only things that are the only sex specific qualities that we have are developmental processes that include whole what do you call it? Systems of organ systems working together in specific. That's the only thing that is specific only to females or specific only to males. Anything else is a human characteristic. So if he said he has some female characteristics, I would say those sound like human characteristics. Those are in the range of male characteristics. They're not female at all.
Right. I just said, well, those are personality traits.
Yeah,
they
are.
That doesn't mean that you're any less of a man. But it's just so infuriating because it's like the looks, the stares, and I'm like crazy, like for saying that biological sex is not a spectrum. It's amazing. Like I walked away feeling like, okay, am I the one that's crazy?
No, they're trying to gaslight you, Judy. They're trying to gaslight you. They're trying to gaslight all of us.
These are really smart people. Many of the people around here, have like double degrees. They're masters, they're PhDs. Like, what the hell?
I always turn it back on them. Like I act like they're the weird one. Like, so don't allow them to make you feel like the weird one. I act like they're the weird one. Like, I don't know. That seems weird. Like what you think liking pink is a woman characteristic, that you sound like you're like a Mad Men 1950s character. Like that's very weird what you're saying to me right now. So I always turn it back on them. And hey, Jessica Gonzalez in the chat.
In the fact that I think I have to be more confident in that.
Yes!
You're right about what we're saying.
Yeah.
And not take it personally. Like I think I'm taking it personally and getting upset instead of just going, because I'm like, am I crazy? And it's like, no, I'm not. I just have to finally just say, no, we are right. We are right. We are right.
Right.
Biological sex is real. It's so crazy that we've gotten to this place. This is where we are at.
Yeah.
And I'm questioning that.
Yeah.
And Judy, the fact that this is even happening to this degree speaks to the level of indoctrination of the masses. And it speaks to the fact that this is clearly coming down from the top and it has been infused into every sector of society. If it hadn't been, then why the hell would people suddenly be confused about who's a man and who's a woman? This is brainwashing. We're getting tired of saying how much like this is brainwashing.
Yeah, no mysteries here.
Yeah, and I try to call that out anytime too. Like you're gaslighting me. You're gaslighting me.
Well,
go on, Jennifer. Jeanette.
If you ask
I know your
questions,
name.
Kind of instead of comment, then it doesn't become a back and forth. Through my whole process of like 3 years and losing custody of my daughter, I started to say, I'm not going to make statements anymore, because when you ask a question, then somebody actually has to answer it in
Right.
some way. So their brain is more likely to start actually functioning as it should. And you can liberate their own critical thinking by asking questions, and not in a snarky, sarcastic way. Don't do that. Actually be curious, and just allow them to get to the next step. Because when you start to see them just get to the point that they're feeling a little foolish, please stop. Because you want them to end that experience by feeling slightly uncomfortable.
Amy?
Hey, hold on. Hey, Judy,
Yes.
I'm gonna thank you so much for calling in. I have Jennifer Thomas that just called. I'm gonna put her on the chat.
Thanks so much, ladies. I really
Judy,
appreciate
always
it.
good to hear from you.
Thanks, Judy. Don't put you on live. Don't put you on live. Sorry.
No. No. No.
No, it was on. It went off at one tiny little point. Now it's been off. Yeah. Now it's been off for like an hour. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, I like that one.
What were you just saying? I was going to say something. I forgot.
No, I'm just watching Amy's pretty face.
Nope.
It's so weird because she said it was a human characteristic to look beautiful, and it seems to be mostly women.
Yeah,
So,
but you're
I
not
don't
on
understand
speakerphone
that.
or anything. Okay. You don't want to go on. Okay.
Okay, tell
okay.
me. Wait, I don't
okay.
hear any nice comments about me, Amy,
Okay.
and Pat in the chat.
Okay. Right.
Focus on me. # focus on me.
Sorry, friends. That was okay. She didn't want to go on live. She just was telling me information. So they're all headed to a restaurant. They're getting ready to go in. It was a good day. I'm sorry, Judy. I apologize for. I sort of booted you. You're so good, and you had such a good question. But
It is
I
question,
was like,
though. It's such a good question.
It was
because
such a good question.
That's the thing. It's like a practical thing. And people who aren't in my parent group, I know some of you I can see in the chat are in my parent group. And that's what it's about. It's about questions. So like, I have this situation and I was in this situation. And then I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And then we kind of give some advice for how you could do that. And people give all kinds of advice, some of which, maybe half, I completely disagree with. But the nice thing about our group is that a bunch of people throw a bunch of ideas out and you can pick and choose.
Hey.
It's like the buffet of ideas.
Hello. Is this Rex?
Kellyanne, how are you guys?
I
Rex
love it.
Lundy. Rex Lundy. How the hell are ya?
No. It's Stone the Crone, mate.
It's Stone the Crone.
Stone the Crone. Another great name.
Welcome. It's Stone the Crone.
I'll be up since 4 o'clock in the morning watching.
Oh, you're so great. Thank you for being with us. We that's what we love. This is Stone the Crone, everyone. I get confused because of the accents, the beautiful accents of Stone and Rex. But this is Stone the Crow. So thank you for being with us from Australia. We so appreciate it. We feel for you out there in Australia and what you're going through. And we cannot wait for you all to start having some events like these or more. I know you've had some already.
Yeah. We had a conference on our Saturday, which is like your Friday night there, and it got shut down. We had to have a secret venue to run that. So that's all been uploaded now on IWD Brisbane The Engine. We've got an Olympian speaking. There's a fantastic doctor. Her name is Dr. Diane Kennedy. So go check that out if you got time. That's really, really great over there at IWD. Yeah. So I just want to thank you guys. Amy, Deprogrammer, you guys are the bomb. You have my heart from over here. I won't keep you long. I'm pretty cracky. I'm ready to go have a coffee and start my day, my Monday. I just want to say I love my wise, wicked witches and warrior women.
Yes.
Yay.
I love it. We're building an army around the world. Women are rising.
I love it. Well, ladies, shall we sign out so that I can see your faces in person very shortly?
Yes.
Yeah, we got to get in that car and scoot down to the city.
What do you mean? I thought we were taking the horse.
We're taking
They'll be here on their horse and carriage soon.
I'm flying on my broomstick.
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm taking my broomstick.
Oh, broomstick.
I thank you, Jessica. We shouted you out earlier. Thank you for your beautiful organizing in Philly.
Yes,
that
you,
was
Jessica.
an amazing event. I mean, they've all been so special and unique in their own ways, but I really, oops. Okay, we'll take this one last call. Okay.
Last caller.
Okay.
Last call.
Last caller.
Last call.
Hey, welcome. You are on. You are live.
Oh, hi. My name is Lucy.
Hey, Lucy.
Hello?
Hey, yeah, we can hear you.
Hi.
How are you today?
I heard you're coming to New York City tomorrow.
Yep.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say the fuck off of Sylvia Rivera's streets.
Why is that?
Say again.
Sorry. This is the public way sidewalk?
Is that Sylvia Rivera you're talking about? The gay man?
Yeah. You can fuck right off. We don't want you here.
Oh, that's
okay. I'm actually from New York City. You're probably not. Full of gentrifiers pushing this ideology. We're gonna be there, whether you like it or not. Say hi.
So funny. That's hilarious. Oh, that's so cute. We're gonna come anyway. We don't care.
We're gonna be there. You can come say hi to me. I love having conversations with people like you. I used to be just like you. Let's talk.
Yeah, we're kind of big planners, so we kind of already planned this for a while. Yeah. All
right, I'm not going to take any more calls today, but it's cute that they found my chat. That's really wonderful.
That's nice. You have a lot of followers.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. New York City knows what a woman is. Okay, we all know what a woman is. I'm sorry that you don't. Young woman who called, you're clearly a woman as well. We could hear it in your voice. So anyways, you see how important it is that we're going out there and doing this, because women are being silenced, not just by men, but by other women who have been indoctrinated into this ideology. I was one of the women who was silencing other women, calling them names, thinking that there was something wrong with them. And you know why? It's because I was completely indoctrinated with a woman-hating ideology. And because I did not understand that this is an agenda being pushed from the top down. And if caller is still listening, you should understand there's nothing that you're doing that's subversive. In no way are you rebellious. In no way are you doing anything other than being a foot soldier for the New World Order and the global trans agenda being pushed by international governing bodies. Look it up if you don't know. StopFemaleErasure.com. Educate yourself. Stop shilling for international governing bodies. Stop shilling for big banks. Stop shilling for big pharma and going after children. This regime will fall.
Yeah.
Women
you know,
will
and that's so
not be
funny.
silenced.
They have nothing to say. All she had to say was, "Don't come here," and we don't want
just
you
another
here.
empty threat. Just another
Yeah,
threat.
you know,
Yeah,
it's.
We were at a Save Women's Sports thing. There was a young girl. She was maybe 14 or something, and she came up to Carrie there in Chicago, and she says, "You know, trans women are women." And Carrie said, "No, they're not."
No.
And it was, you know, that's the thing. When somebody comes up with all of that, ooh, you know, yeah, we're kind of coming anyway.
Yeah. And again, it's not, men are not the only abusers in this. It's women as well. And sometimes it's the women who feel the most emboldened to take physical action against other women. This is the reality. This is what we're up against. Our sisters, my literal sister, our sisters have been brainwashed into this ideology. They have been turned against us. This is DARVO. Okay, this is deny, attack, reverse the victim and offender. This is what's going on. These people are using authoritarian, totalitarian tactics. They are using tactics of mind control and ideological subversion. So we're not going to stand for any of this. We're not intimidated. We know what's going on. We're well informed. We're getting together. We're organizing, and we're not going to take this. We're just not.
No, we are not. All right. Well, everyone in the chat, thank you all for being here. Thank you to our callers. We are going to go because we have some preparations to do for tomorrow, but we will see you live on the ground tomorrow. You will have some wonderful hosts hosting you in the chat who are not Kay Yang and myself, but we will be participating with you from the ground. Thank you all so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you, sisters.
everyone. Keep fighting.